All right, we're live.
Hooray.
Yay. We're
We
here.
did it.
I'm getting a
Hey.
Sephora ad first.
Hell yeah.
Okay. Bringing in the new year. Happy game of the year to you all.
Yeah.
Happy
you can-
Goaty.
Wee.
Yep. After today, you can stop playing 2023 games and start playing your 2024 games.
Good,
No.
because there's like so much that's out already that I actually need to jump into. Momodora came out today, and I'm just like, fuck, I don't have the time.
I played 2 hours of it at midnight. It's fucking fantastic. It's so good.
Don't tell me that, because now I want to play it.
It's so good.
I can, as of this morning, I can say that I've been playing Prince of Persia: Lost Crown, and it's incredible.
God
That's-
damn it.
that's like a week
that's got
away,
like an
right?
87 on Metacritic. Yeah,
That
it's
is a
next
week away.
Yeah.
Yep. So get excited for that. But we're not talking about 2024 games yet. We will.
Aw.
But we need to talk about some 2023 games. First off, housekeeping out of the way. This is the top-down perspective. It's January 11th. I'm Sean Booker.
I'm Paul Fleck.
I'm John Wheeler.
I'm Nathan Rohr. I was here a couple times this year, but
Yes.
yeah.
Thank you, Nathan, for joining us once again. Always great to have you on the Game of the Year shows.
Thanks for
Okay, so
thanks
for
having me.
those who have never listened to a Game of the Year podcast from us, who are you? Because I don't think you're real. But I'm going to run through the categories we're going to talk about today. Starting with, we're going to do John Wheeler's 20. John Wheeler's 20XX
Right.
Game of the Year, which are games that came out not in 2023, not in 2022, but any other year, because those are the games that John focuses on. So clearly it is his category. After that, we will be talking about 2022's games of the year, games that we got to like a year out, like a year late, I should say. We will then be talking about our biggest disappointment, our biggest surprise. New categories this year will include our game of the year through osmosis. So this is a game you did not play, but you absorbed enough of it through some other means that it somehow gets an award. After that, another new
Okay.
category is game you swear you'll come back to, because we all have these. We all have terrible backlogs. We will then be doing the big game of the year, followed by honorable mentions, games that did not make our top list, but we still want to give a shout out for one reason or another. We will do Pile of Shame, which is basically games you didn't do anything with and you want to get to at some point. And then we will make a prediction about what our 2024 Game of the Year is. And we will finish the episode with going back to what we predicted about about 2023 in video games in the industry. See what we were right, what we were wrong with, and we will make new predictions into 2024. And then as the format goes, we do not have a collective list. We all play too many different games, so we all have individual lists, and we will go through them in like reverse order, 10, 9, 8, all the way to 1. And we'll go in a circle. And then for you guys, just a reminder, if someone says a game that you have higher up on your list, just say that, and we will save the game's discussion for when we get to the highest part, so we're all talking about it at the same time when it's like a bigger deal.
Oh, okay.
As opposed to just like kind of splitting it up. That doesn't make any sense.
It's like,
So
well, I thought this was kind of but whatever. And then okay. Hopefully we'll be in sync. And if we're in sync, like that one time with Ghost Trick,
And Hades
you
too.
know, maybe.
and Hades.
Hades
yeah,
also did that.
yeah,
Okay.
If we all do get the same game, we get a prize.
We do? Oh, dang it.
We have to stop
Synchronicity
doing
here.
the podcast for a year.
That's the
That's the
prize.
prize? Wow. Wow.
You're free for a year. So there's incentive. Okay. So let's begin. Again, John Wheeler's 20XX Game of the Year. This is the game that came out at least 2 years ago. And
It's like
let's
John
start
Wheeler
with
presents
John.
old games. Yeah.
Yes, John represents all games. For all the categories except Game of the Year, we have 3. Game of the Year, we have 10. Nathan, I think you have 5, you said, for Game of the Year?
Yeah, like
Okay.
tentative 6 maybe, but yeah.
Okay. But for these preemptive categories, we will have 3 each. So, John, start us off with your number 3 20XX game.
All right. So for those that don't know, I usually pull my 20XX from the actual games I do on stream for game clearing. And while I didn't do as much game clearing this year, actually I think it was the lowest year for game clearing. Still had some pretty good games on it. So my number 3 is Spyro the Dragon 1, the reignited version specifically.
Okay.
So I had never actually played through Spyro the Dragon games at all. I'd watched one of my former partners play through it. It seemed fun, but I never really kind of got into it or played it. And then chat forced it on me for like a year and a half to play through it slowly during fortune cookie streams, and eventually like I got kind of into it. It was actually pretty fun. So I can see why a lot of people really like that part of their childhood. So yeah, I would say that definitely hit number 3, no problem.
I played this a couple years ago. I really enjoy the Reignited trilogy. I went through like all 3 back to back. That's a
Dang,
great
did you
package.
100% them or not? Because like,
Oh, no, absolutely not.
okay, yeah, good. Because I 100%ed Spyro 1. I'm like, that's like the peak of how far I'd want to go. And her 2 and 3 are worse.
Oh, I think I liked.
No,
I think
100%.
1 was my least favorite. Oh, for 100%ing. Okay.
Big difference.
All right. Paul, you're the next one in my rotation of the screen. What's your number
Okay.
3?
My number 3 was Astro's Playroom. This was the year I bought a PS5. It came packed in, and I was actually just really surprised at how fun that thing was. It's just like for a pack-in kind of tech test sort of thing, it is like incredibly well realized. It has a lot of cool callbacks to, like, I grew up a PlayStation kid, so I recognized a whole bunch of the callbacks and stuff, and it's just a really nice platformer. So I thought that was really, really cool.
Astro's Playroom rocks. I also had one more bit of housekeeping I forgot to mention real quick.
Mhm.
We have the Community Game of the Year survey that we will also be announcing as we go.
Yeah.
Paul, do you have these up? Okay, so
no, they're
we'll
not.
do them kind of last
Yeah, of course I
What?
do.
in the rotation.
Yeah.
We'll kind of do these last in the rotation, but they should have the same for all categories, right? 3 and then 10 and everything like that.
That's how I know the
Okay,
order.
great.
I organize them accordingly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. So just a reminder, if hopefully you submitted your games of the year and whatnot to our survey, and we collected all the results. Paul, I think you told us this was the most submissions we have ever gotten.
It was. Do you want to know the numbers then, I guess? I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure the
Okay.
previous most was 72 entries, and that was with SurveyMonkey,
Sounds
where
right.
you could like do multiple entries if you wanted to, if you like forgot something or whatever. Since we go through Google now, you have to put your email down for every entry, so we know for a fact that none of these are all separate people, and we had 78 entries this time.
Dang.
Nice.
So the most.
That's awesome. And the community has an extra category where they are going to guess our 2023 game of the year, which
That's-
we'll probably save. We'll announce it like during the
the
top
first.
10, just before we do number 1. Yeah.
Yeah. That's such a beautiful
Okay.
mess. I can't wait to talk about those.
Oh boy.
It's really
oh
good.
boy.
Yeah.
That's great. I was seeing a lot of discussion in the Discord of people being like, I have no idea. They were also like spoiler tagging it, and I didn't like look at them all because I wanted to be kind of surprised what some of these results were. So
Yeah.
all right, back to the show. Nathan, what is your number 3 game?
My bronze medal for this one is Prey, the Arcane Studios one.
Nice.
I finally
wow.
actually beat that. I played it years ago and just kind of got stuck and was having a tough time, so I had to relinquish some pride and set it to easy mode. And then I was
Sure.
able to just play that game. And I really enjoyed the kind of open-ended problem solving of just navigating that space station and how everything, like every dead person on that station is somewhere in that world and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It was the first time I kind of enjoyed one of those Deus Ex-like kind of open-ended shooter type things. So
Immersive sim.
perhaps it'll crack open the genre for me. Yeah. So I was pretty surprised with that one. It was pretty cool. I don't know if I got a good ending or anything, but it was at least an enjoyable time.
Yeah, I
So,
felt the same way with that game.
Prey.
I went to it late too, and I felt the same way. It's a good one.
My number 3 game is Mortal Kombat 11's Aftermath DLC,
Nice.
Nice.
which I went back to play through in excitement of Mortal Kombat 1, a game I didn't play, but I was ready. I was ready to go. It was just a goofy, dumb time traveling time. And yeah, I definitely, if you're gonna play 11, you might as well play this because it leads right into the next one. And that was just kind of fun revisiting those characters.
Sure.
Paul, Community number 3.
Community number 3 is Mass Effect. So there were a couple different entries, specifically Mass Effect Anniversary and Mass Effect 1, and I just combined them into Mass Effect.
Okay. This one's always like a weird one for the community because the choice of games is so huge.
There are 169 different choices on this list.
So more than 2 people played Mass Effect then. So that's pretty cool.
I would say 4, I think, was the number for Mass Effect. Yeah.
And it's only going to go up for the next 2, so.
Yep.
Okay. John, you're number 2.
My number 2, Phantom 2040 for the Super Nintendo. A big surprise for me and like a weirdly super ambitious Super Nintendo game where there's branching paths, there's areas you don't even get to go through depending on the way you've done your playthrough, multiple endings, bad endings, good endings, and there's so much granular little differences that it's really fucking wild. Like, I wish I had played this game as a kid. It probably would have been one of my favorite Super Nintendo games. Like, that's how good it was. So.
I remember you talking really highly about it to the point where I almost played it like that night, but I had other stuff I needed to do. But yeah, you made it sound really cool.
No, like I was like, wow, I didn't think the SNES had any surprises left for me. So like this was like honestly genuinely cool to play.
Okay. I was about to say, I don't think I've ever heard of this game, but when I looked it up, I do remember seeing all this art, and I think we talked about the show or something a lot.
We talked about the game at the very least, and I used to watch like the Billy Zane movie.
Yeah.
I think it was Billy Zane.
It was.
Yeah, low key, I like that movie still.
Sure.
Oh, like the Phantom?
The Phantom.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
That movie is kind of okay.
Yeah.
I know, it's
Alright.
not that bad.
Yeah.
It's got some moments, but like the
Treat
villains
Williams has like a
eats so much
skull.
scenery. Yeah, no, that dude eats so much scenery. It's great. Fuck.
So this is a future story with the Phantom? Okay.
Yeah, so like the Phantom's like an old comic book series, like newspaper comic series. And then they did like the Billy Zane Phantom movie in the 90s. They did a cartoon called Phantom 2040, which is based about him in like the far future. And yeah, that's what the game is based off the show.
Sweet. All right. I was
you're
expecting the Billy Zane to enter into this. Okay.
Yeah,
You never know when Billy Zane's gonna show up.
My number 2 was World of Warcraft Classic. Specifically, recently the Season of Discovery stuff came out, which is the kind of remix that they did where it's only level 1 to 25, and it has like some changes to how the classes work and stuff. So I got super into that again, especially because there's kind of like an end off point where it's like, okay, well, it's only to level 25. I'm not gonna like be able to waste a whole lot of time in this, and it was just really great, kind of doing the nostalgia thing and going back and that whole thing. Yeah, it was good time. I'm still playing it on and off when I wasn't trying to catch up with games for this thing that we're doing here.
Nathan?
Resident Evil 7 is pretty good.
Yeah.
I'd been putting it off because I wanted to play it in VR, and it never got supported on PC ever, so I just decided to stop doing that and just play it. And
true?
it's really nice.
There's no
official
PC
way,
version?
no.
Official, no.
Oh.
No. Yeah, there's maybe some hacky way you can do it, but Capcom only put that out on PlayStation VR, so
yep.
Cool. It's still a great game though. It's kind of a neat fusion of the first game and maybe some of the more combat-centric stuff of the later ones. It gave me the feeling I had playing the very first one, where I immediately wanted to play it again and do it better. And so I did that. It's just like, oh, I'm gonna find the different guns sooner, and I know where to go now and everything. So it was fun to actually run it again. And the videotape stuff I did again, even though you don't need to. But that birthday party thing is pretty good. I don't
Right.
know. Yeah, I was I was pretty happy with it. I still have some DLC I can check out this year, but I played the core game and had a good time. So Resident Evil 7, good job, Capcom. You did it like 7 years ago when that came out.
Yep. True.
My number 2 is Moonlighter, a game that was just perfect for my holiday break, and I love that game. So replaying it was just what I wanted. This time I went and played the DLC, but you have to play through the whole game first, which is totally fine. I don't care for the DLC, so I kind of stopped that immediately and moved on to a different game. But Moonlighter is just still like one of my all-time favorites, and I for some reason I only seem to play it around Christmas, so maybe that's why I wanted to play it again. But yeah, that worked out. That game's great.
Cool. We had a tie for the number 2 place for 20XX community. And
okay.
it was between Fire Emblem 3 Houses and Persona 5 Royal.
Oh wow.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I did some Persona 5 this year as well.
Well, there you go.
But it didn't make the cut. Weird, huh? But whatever. It's still good, but yeah.
All right, John. Number 1 old game.
Number one for the 20XX Goaty. That'd be Metroid Prime 2 Echoes.
Okay.
Finally got around to playing
Oh.
through this, and I'd always heard this game was not that great. And those people are full of shit. Because that game was actually pretty good. I actually had a lot of fun with that one. I'm on the fence if I like it more than Metroid Prime 1, because I'm back and forth on that. But there's a lot of in Echoes that I like a lot more in Prime 1, but Prime 1 feels, something about it feels more, I don't want to say genuine, fun. Like something that feels, Prime 1 feels more like a complete package. Prime 2 feels more like they experimented a lot more, and a bunch of it links up great, and then there's a couple bits that are just like, oh, how'd you make that mistake? Oh, come on. So I'm torn on it a little bit, whether I like it more than 1, but I definitely came out with an otherwise pretty good opinion on the game, minus the ending boss fight, which I kind of had some struggles with. I don't know. I thought it was a fun time, and it honestly makes me want to play the 3rd one, which I probably will do this year. But the downside to 3 is that A, it's motion controls, even though I've heard it's good motion controls, and B, also heard it's like the easiest one by far. Like the challenge of 2, I think, is what I actually enjoyed the most, because like you are fighting so many bosses in that game, and you are like fighting for your life in some of that, and that actually was probably what kept me the most interested in it. Versus like 1 feels way more exploration focused, 2 feels way more combat focused, and 3's probably just a mix. So.
Cool.
Okay.
2,
the first one I ever played, I didn't like it, and so I didn't play any of them until the remaster.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I played the first one when it first came out, and I didn't like it because I preferred Halo controls. And then like, was it like 3 years ago, we ended up playing it on stream, and I loved it.
Nice.
my number 1 was Payday 2, which I got super back into to play all the DLC that I had missed in the last few years, getting ready for Payday 3. And I just got sucked into that really hard for like a month. I was just doing that every single night for hours. Got really back into
Getting ready for 3, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, is 3 gonna be on another list later, or anyway?
Might be.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe somewhere.
All right. Cool.
Lots of lists. Who's to say?
Yeah, there's several categories.
Yep.
It could be.
Could be on all of them.
For me, number 1. It's my turn, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Step on.
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Assassin's Creed Origins. That was the Egypt one.
Oh
Nice.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I just kind of dropped that series after Brotherhood, but it was nice to go back to it and be like, oh, they actually did a great job again. Like, they actually made a really cool game. I like the Bayek, the main character. I'm just like this Egyptian cop solving problems, solving mysteries in Egypt. Yeah, it was a fun time. My only issue is the DLC costs more than I paid for the game, so I feel weird about buying it because it's just kind of a strange mental like, what? I got 50 hours for $8. Why would I ever? But maybe eventually I'll check out the Tomb of the Pharaohs or whatever it is.
I think I did all the
Can it-
DLC
is
for
the-
that game.
Is it good? Is it good stuff?
I think it gets like really. No, hang on. I might be mixing it up with Odyssey's
Odyssey?
DLC, so I don't really remember. I think you go into
Okay.
a lot of the afterlife stuff, so it gets like really mystical. That might be
Sure.
Odyssey. I don't remember.
All
Origins
right.
is good though.
I tried playing some Odyssey as well, but it wasn't the game's quality. It was just my PC was stuttering weird when I tried to play it, which was really sad. So
Okay.
that'll be a future game I'll look at. I've heard it's too long and everything, but I'm prepared to deal with that. I was
those
impressed
are big games.
with. Yeah. So good job, Ubisoft. You did it like 7 years ago. Yeah.
And my number one is Yakuza 0, a game that I was
Nice.
forced
Nice.
to play through for the Patreon podcast finally after kind of just sitting on it for years or having it sit on my hard drive for years. And yeah, that game's great. I immediately, upon finishing it, downloaded Kiwami and have yet to start it up. But now that's the game that's sitting on my hard drive.
Nice.
Maybe I'll get to that in like
You must
5
always
years or whatever.
have one Yakuza game ready to go.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Hey, there's worse ways to live your life. So, Yakuza 0 was very enjoyable. I also still have Ishin on my
Mhm.
hard drive, and I was playing that at like the same time as 0 because it came out when we were doing the podcast. And yeah, there's a lot of Yakuza this year, I guess. So, anyways, go listen to that Patreon podcast we did about Yakuza 0.
Yeah. And the number one for the community, with no surprise, Final Fantasy 14. The ongoing game.
Oh,
Makes sense.
The game that
Okay.
never ends.
Yep.
all right. Next category, 2023's 2022 game of the year. So it has to have come out in 2022, and for some reason we were still playing it. Start us off,
Okay.
John.
All right, my number 3 was Stranger of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origin for 2022. Sorry, 23's 22 Goaty. Because I fucking love Jack. That's just such
Yeah.
a fucking dumbass character.
Yeah.
And that gameplay is still fun, even though I'm not super big on Souls. Like, there's just something about the Neo gameplay style that just feels fun to me. Very fast and very quick. I like to be able the whole thing with switching jobs and everything, and just the online. It's just a goofy ass time. So.
Yeah, good choice. Good choice. I think this year I'm going to finally jump in full on that because I only played the demo and I loved it, but I want to play more of it. And it was free on PS Plus, so I have it now.
Nice.
My number 3 was Salamander County Public Television. That was just a fun, goofy time. That thing is awesome. It was such a great time. That's a little like mini game collection, visual novel almost sort of thing that gets kind of wacky at some point, but it's fun. It's a good time. Think WarioWare with a story in it.
For me, it's probably Atari 50. They added some
Good
more
one.
games to that, and I went back and finished looking at some stuff and playing some games. Yeah, I thought it was Turnip Boy, but apparently that came out in 2021. So I had to
Well, the new
make
one's
a
out
last
soon,
minute
though.
Yeah, the new one is soon.
New one
Atari
is soon.
50
I'm
is
excited
great.
about his crimes. Yeah.
Are you also do you have interest in the last thing they did, making of Chronica?
Chronica? Yes, that is on another list somewhere, I think, for things I meant to check out. So we'll find that
yeah.
later.
Okay.
Yeah.
My number 3 is Horizon Forbidden West. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't remember playing this last year, but the podcast notes said I did
Oh.
in
Okay.
January. Based on the time frame, I have a feeling I went back and played some more of it when I was like reviewing the DualSense Edge controller. But that game's cool, and I played it
Yeah.
last year, and it came out in 2022, so it counts.
True. Yep. This is a hard list for me, actually. So I get kind of grasping at straws for stuff. The community number 3 choice was Vampire Survivors.
Nice.
Sure.
It's a pretty fun
Yeah.
thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right, my number 2 for 2022 Game of the Year, Pokemon Violet. I didn't expect
Okay.
this to be on here, but I had to play it for a special event in a competition, and I ended up playing through the vast majority of the game for it, and I actually really liked it. Like, it almost
Nice.
genuinely made me want to play Pokemon again. I'm like, oh no, this is how this happens. I can't believe it. So I didn't mind the glitches and the hitching frame rate as much as others did. Like, generally, the gameplay was fun. I liked the monsters I ended up with. It was actually a fun time just blasting through it. So I don't know. I might actually finish it off properly and even look at the DLC. But yeah, I had a way better time than I ever expected with that.
Nice. I got a fun fact for you. That game was number 4 on the community list. So, and it lost by
Wow,
1 vote to
just
Vampire Survivors. So
one
whoever
vote!
says your vote
Ooh.
doesn't count, there you go. It does.
Get out there and vote.
Yeah, exactly. My number 2 is Lunistis. This is a just
Nice.
running platforming game. You just run forward and platform, and it's done in a PS1 aesthetic, and it's great. It's just super, super fun. I got super into this for a week or so. It's too short is probably my big problem with it, which is a good problem to have. It just means I want more of it. But Lunistis is worth looking into if you like that sort of era game, like PlayStation platformer stuff. It's very good.
Number 2 for me is my game of the year last year, Splatoon 3. I kind of kept playing
Okay.
it for a while, and mostly Salmon Run. Eventually, I just wasn't having a good time in the multiplayer anymore. I wasn't good enough. So I just was getting fish eggs and whatnot and playing that a bit. So I also played Splatoon 2, but I know that didn't come out last year. So, but there was kind of just a gob of Splatooning going on for a while this year still. So, yeah.
My number 2 is Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Remaster, whatever the full title of that is. A game that I don't think is particularly good, but it was my first time finishing it because I did play it back on the PSP. And it's fine enough for a playthrough. You should not do any of the side content because that's a waste of time. But I'm extra ready for Rebirth, yeah, which is like March, or is that next month?
The end of February.
Might be next month.
Yeah. So it might as well be
February.
March.
Yep.
Yeah, so there you go, my number 2.
The community number 2 was Elden Ring.
All right. Good choice.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't
That's a
play
good game.
1 minute of that in 2023. I finally started playing it this week, so it doesn't qualify.
Nice. Okay.
True.
Well, we'll hear about it next year, I'm sure.
Yeah, 20XX
Yeah.
for the end of this year. Yeah.
I guess so.
My number 1 was Crisis Core, and I had a really good time with that.
You should have said something.
No, it doesn't matter. I disagree. I think that side content is fine, especially if you don't particularly, if you're just looking for like time wasty stuff or whatever. It's okay. There's one in particular that is a little egregious where you are literally just fighting like 500 guys, and it's just like, oh, this is this is
that one's
insane.
infamous.
Yeah,
That one's infamous, I believe.
but like it was also kind of hilarious that they just went for it. So yeah, that thing is fine. It's definitely all about the thing you need to play if you're gonna play that is the story to get that. Anything else on top of it is bonus, and you could like choose to not do it if you want to. But I had a really good time with that. I had never played it at all before, so I 100%ed it at the beginning of last year, and I had a great time doing it.
All
All
right.
right, number 1 is last year's runner-up, Arcade Paradise. I played through that again, because it was on Game Pass. I got achievements this time, so that was a fun excuse to run through that again and run another Laundromat Arcade. My Game Pass subscription actually ran out while I was in the game playing it, so I got to see what that was like when they're just like, "Hey, get out of here, cheapo," and they throw you out. So it was fun though.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, weird.
That's
Okay.
still a fun game.
I've never seen that. Does it just give you like an error message or something? Like your time's up or?
Yeah, I think it just crashed me out. It's just like,
Oh.
well, it's like, oh, all right, well, I guess I'm done.
Wow.
So I managed to see credits again though before that happened. So yeah.
I think we skipped John's number 1.
We did. Yeah, we did.
Thank-
My number 1 was Infernax, my game of the year from last year.
Oh, it's so good.
They added another playable character. They added 2-player co-op. It's actually pretty good. That game's great. Play it.
Yeah, it's so good.
Did we do community number 2?
Yeah, it was Elden Ring.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
You,
yes,
they-
you're right,
you just
okay.
went from Elden Ring straight to Paul. So
Okay.
Because of the Crisis Core bridge or something.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
yeah.
Sorry about
Paul
that.
jumped in. Yeah. Okay. My number 1. Is that the correct thing next? My number 1.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, my number one is Ghostwire Tokyo.
Oh,
The
wow.
PS5 exclusivity ended, so it popped up on Game Pass. A game that I purchased on PS5 and I think never started it. And
Okay.
and then so I played the Xbox version naturally. That game's pretty interesting and cool. The side content is totally worth doing. There's some cool stories and stuff in there. Weird, creepy stuff going on in hospitals and whatnot. So yeah, that's a cool game. I don't think we'll ever get a sequel. I don't think it did especially well, but like I would play a sequel to that.
Yeah. The community
Community
game
for one.
of the year is Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
Oh. All right.
Wow, I'm shocked.
Oh, are
Yeah.
they talking about that all year long?
I'm
Okay.
guessing so.
You got a lot of emails about it. Okay.
I don't think so, but it's a Switch. It's a Nintendo game, so that's usually how it works.
Okay.
All right, biggest disappointment. These are games that, for one reason or another, we had high expectations for, and they fell flat in some regard, and just were disappointing and a bummer. John, what's
Oh,
your
man.
third biggest disappointment of?
Oh boy.
2023.
I will
Video
preface
game
my
wise.
list saying that only one of these is on this list because it was a bad game,
Mm.
and that would
Okay.
be Wanted Dead. That looked
Oh.
like the kind of stupid game I was hoping to really get into. Sci-fi sword fighting, gunfighting game with like a snarky main character girl, and like it's all about like weird cyber crimes and terrorism fighting, and just like looks like some nonsense hack and slash wet style video game. Like it looked like it'd be right up my alley, and it just even playing on like normal, it just felt like an absolute fucking grind fest just to get through enemies. Everything was just like a huge bullet sponge or damage sponge. It just wasn't fun. The voice acting was abysmal, but actually I kind of appreciated that. And it just, yeah, no, I don't know if they ever did patch the game to fix a bunch of issues, but like I really wanted that game to be good, and I was so disappointed. It really, really sucked. I think it's like disgustingly low on Metacritic right now. I'm gonna
I've
look it
heard
up
this
here
from a
meanwhile.
few people, which is such a bummer because I also wanted this, but it was, I think, like a $50 Canadian game or something. And I remember
Oh, it was
thinking,
like full price when it came out.
I
Yeah, like
remember
it's got
thinking
a
it's too much.
57 on Metacritic.
57 on Metacritic's pretty bad. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think the game you guys want is Ghost Runner.
probably.
Like maybe, I don't know. I don't want first person though. Like I kind of wanted the third person hack and slash sort of thing. Also, I think
Okay.
Ghost Runner takes itself more seriously than this ever purported to, which is also a big draw for me as well. That sucks that it's kind of bad apparently.
Lineback says it got a patch on December 21st. So, and it came out in February for reference's sake. So,
Wow.
Yikes.
so maybe I'll go back and check it out.
I'm just gonna throw this out there and say my most disappointing is Starfield, and I'm wondering if someone else's is higher than 3.
That's your number 3, you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's on
Yours
my
is higher?
list, too.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Then
We'll
we'll
wait for
continue on to
his.
Nathan's number 3.
Okay.
I forgot that even came out this year.
Yeah.
Yep, it did.
Todd Howard's dream game. But yeah. Sorry, is it my turn for number 3 then?
It is, yeah.
Or-
It is. Yep.
All right, I'm gonna go with Slayer's X Terminal Aftermath Vengeance of
Oh.
the Slayer,
Oh,
which is
didn't like that.
okay. It's kind of fun, but I think it just overstays its welcome a little bit. I got kind of tired of it 7/9 through it, I guess. And it doesn't incorporate enough of the hypnospace magic into the game. You just kind of get some songs and stuff that were in that game, Hypnospace Outlaw.
mm.
Right. Okay.
I think I'm fundamentally on board with like just the dumb boomer shooter kind of throwbacky genre or whatever. It's like, you know, oh, it's a little bit better designed levels. You don't get lost and just destroyed in the same way. And there's this gun that shoots glass. It's pretty good. You shoot windows to get the glass, and then you shoot the glass. It's a good idea.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's just kind of stupid. Like there's the sense of humor in that game is not. It's that Zane character if you've ever played Hypnospace. So it's like his sensibilities all over a 90s shooter.
He is a gamer.
He is a gamer.
Yeah,
Oh,
okay.
okay. Yeah, got it. Okay.
This
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking, like, you
I'm
like
really
High
mad
on
at this
Life,
guy.
and I didn't like that comedy. So, like, what could this be? But I know what you're talking about now, and
Yeah.
that sounds abysmal.
It can get a little grating. I think I intend to still go back and do those last 2 levels or whatever, but it's just a little too much samey combat as it goes on.
Sure.
So I was a little disappointed that is the Hypnospace follow-up, but
I think it was just meant to be like a little silly spin-off. I don't think it's meant to be
Yeah.
the follow-up.
okay, yeah. But not all it could have been, I guess.
My number 3 is Redfall.
Mine's higher up.
Oh
You have it higher up? Okay, then we will wait.
no, it's on a different list entirely, so don't worry about it. Yeah.
The community number 3 most disappointing was Fire Emblem Engage.
Oh wow,
Wow. Okay.
surprise!
well
No,
regarded
Sean,
Fire Emblem.
you should speak your piece about Redfall.
No, it's higher
okay.
up for Paul. I'll talk about it when it's on his.
Oh, is it? Oh,
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Sean, your
Uh,
number 2.
My number 2 for disappointing is Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom.
Sweet.
Oh,
That is
I
my
actually
number
have
2.
this. No, absolutely not. I think you're good.
Oh, am I good to keep going on this one? Okay,
I think
all right.
so.
All right. Yeah, no, I loved Breath of the Wild. I played that nonstop, played through it with Reese, had a great time. And when I did a midnight launch standing in to try to get an early copy, and then my order, because of the collector's edition, came in late, so I had to wait a couple days. And by the time the game came in and I got it, I was bored half hour later. It just did not grab me. It felt like the exact same fucking game. I didn't like the way they handled the fusing system. I love the fact that you can make all this weird, wild shit in it, but it just felt so clunky and cumbersome. They somehow made the stamina system on the weapons worse, even though I know they made weapons more plentiful and stuff like that. It just felt tedious. The game just somehow became even more tedious than Breath of the Wild was. Like Breath of the Wild, I think was just on just on the cusp of being tedious for me, and this was like, nope, too far. It just, yeah, no, I just did not like this. I bounced off of this one pretty bad. So, number 2 on my list.
Okay.
So
Number 1 is
Personal
gonna,
list,
it's gonna
people.
piss off some people. So,
I was not disappointed in this game like you were, but I will say I finished Breath of the Wild. I completed that game. I stopped playing Tears of the Kingdom, so I feel it. Like I get where you're
Yeah.
coming from, personally. My number 2 is Redfall, so let's have that discussion, I guess.
Okay, go ahead.
The big thing is that I know Arcane can do better, and I was just really disappointed that when I played it, it was kind of like a broken mess of a game. Like, I don't know when you guys played it. I played it on launch. It was a broken mess of a game. I had trouble getting a buddy in to play with me. The AI was fucked and just not doing anything in some parts. There was literally a vampire going around in circles right in front of me trying to get to me because he couldn't for some reason in an empty room. That game was absolute fucking trash when I played it.
I played
Okay.
it a few months later. I even played it over their big, like, we are optimizing it. We are putting in 60 frames, yada, yada. So I played kind of both versions. So mine was definitely running better and it was still super buggy. I think the big issue I had was it was just really boring.
Oh, I kind of like the
And-
world they built, actually. So, like, that's a part of the disappointment for me is that I was like, okay, like, I wish there was more in this world. Like, I wish the AI wasn't completely fucking stupid, and I wish, like, there was kind of more cool vampire stuff. That's kind of, like, my disappointment. I thought the story stuff was okay, I guess.
I wish there was more going. The world felt super empty. And I
Yeah,
even remember
I
one of the
agree.
things in the update was like, we put more like NPCs in there for you to like fight and stuff. I didn't even know, I couldn't notice any difference. I think it was pretty empty. It was just a lot of like running places. And then, yeah,
Yeah.
still buggy, us getting kind of like locked out of things and having to restart for odd reasons. It's just kind of a mess. And I played through it in co-op, which is definitely how I was able to get through it. If I was doing that solo, there's no way I would have finished that game.
Okay.
Nathan's number
Sorry,
2.
I probably should have stepped in earlier. Mine was also Tears of the Kingdom was number 2.
Okay.
I also used the word tedium in my write-up here, so that's the echoing of my experience. And I wasn't the biggest Breath of the Wild guy, and there was just things they didn't get rid of. Like, it's like, oh yeah, your weapons still break. We think that's essential. That's great. You should also have that in this new game. And something about the control of the fusing, I feel, was the problem for me. It was just really like,
put
should I
on
be using tilt
ground
or something?
and then use special ability. Now it's
Mm.
on there.
I wish more was mapped to the right stick or something. It just felt insane the way that control scheme was. So yeah, I played the first couple hours and was just like, yeah, they made another one of these. I get that it's the hottest selling Zelda game ever, so I'm never gonna get my old ways again. But
You know what the
I'll
weird
just
thing
go
is about
back.
having the weird thing about me when I played Tears, all it made me want to do was go back and actually try to finish Twilight Princess. For some reason, it just made
There
me
you
want to go
go.
play an older one, which was
All right.
weird.
That is
I
a
just want
weird
some
thing to say.
dungeons. Yeah. I don't know. Like it was popular in this household. My wife Brittany loves that game, so I saw many hours of it, but I my time with it was very brief and just kind of okay, they're taking this in this direction, so thanks, but I'm okay. So, yeah.
Okay.
Not
Sure,
fair enough.
Nintendo's big winner this year around these parts. So, yeah.
My number 2 is Minecraft Legends.
Oh, okay.
The reason I was like excited about this in any way is that I think Minecraft Dungeons is awesome.
Yep.
So I kind of really had like good expectations for the Minecraft spin-off games, and Legends is just like so boring.
Yeah.
And I think they're actually like ending support for it already. I think I heard. So I'm not alone in this, but it's like I can play some RTSs as well, but this is like a bad version of an RTS, and what as a result, you just kind of sit there waiting for stuff to like fight each other as opposed to doing any kind of like real-time strategy. And you're constantly having to like, all right, I need to get across this entire map to go do that. So it's just like a lot of like running empty areas. It is such a weirdly boring game.
Sure. The community number 2 pick was The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom.
There you go.
Wow.
In sync with the
Wow.
community. I had a feeling it was going to be
Okay.
there. Now I'm curious what number 1's going to be, though.
Yeah.
My number 1, I will preface it by saying it is not a bad game, but I
Uh-oh.
don't think I've bounced harder off of a game in my life, and I don't think I've had as
Ooh.
big of a feeling of FOMO as I have had for bouncing off of this game.
Oh, I
It's
think I know.
Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah, of course it is. You're not a D&D guy. It makes
Yeah.
sense. Like,
I'm not a D&D guy. I specifically hate this very specific type of game combat.
yeah.
And when people got me to get it and play it, I'm like, oh, this is literally plays like the game I say is like my least favorite game of all time. This fucking sucks. And it's just, I can tell how much cool shit is there. I completely understand why people love this game. And I am so disappointed that I just bounced off of it harder than anything else. I'm just like, nope, I never want to play this. Don't put this in front of me. I see all the cool stuff online in the game. I'm like, that seems awesome. I would love to experience that. But I never will.
That's
My
sounds like
wife
an
loves it.
allergy.
She was obsessed with it for like 200 hours. She did multiple playthroughs. She loved it. And I was just like, yeah, I played for like an hour and I was super done with it. Now, it's entirely possible I'll go back later and love it because there's another game that came out this year I played and I originally bounced off of it. Not as hard, but then ended up coming back and loving it later. So who knows? Maybe next year one of my 2023 game of the year will actually be
sure.
Baldur's Gate 3. But like I said, I don't think I've bounced off a game harder in my life than I did Baldur's Gate 3.
Okay.
That's such a bad feeling when you're like, everybody loves this but me. Oh, it feels so
I know.
bad.
It
Oh.
sucks because I'm like, even the elements that I would like about it
Yeah.
are here. The character seems super interesting. The story seems great. There's so much dumb shit you can do in it. Like this
Yeah.
is exactly what I would want in a game. And it just the gameplay just takes me out of it. I just like I don't care. No,
Yeah.
it just I've never bounced harder off of something in my life.
Sure. My number 1 was Payday 3. And keep in mind, Payday 3 is my most disappointing. I also have 100 and some hours in it. That game is a disease. In the worst possible way.
Ooh. Jesus, savage.
Payday 3, first of all, was impossible to get into because it's always online, even for the single player stuff, which is how I want to do every heist, single player, stealth or whatever first, and then I'll go in with buddies when I kind of like have taken the time to like learn the map and kind of where things are or whatever. Because then like if we get into trouble, I like to know how to fix it, or at least like say like you need to do this or whatever. And I couldn't do that because since it's always online, they had server issues and I couldn't play this game solo for the first like few days that it was out without issues. They just refused to basically talk to the community at all during this time. didn't give anybody a heads up of what's going on. They didn't provide people that had bought the gold edition on PS5 with any of their extra items for like the first month. Like, everything about this game was such a fucking disaster. The way that you gain experience points is predicated on you doing certain things in the map and not you actually just doing the heist. Like, everything about it is so fucking disappointing because the bare bones, like, mechanics and everything is just good Payday 2. Like, in a new engine that feels good, but every other choice around it is such dog shit. Like, I think they'll fix it. I've already kind of seen, like, it's getting slowly better here and there, but holy hell, that was rough. And I was just like, and it's one of those things where, like, I wanted to be okay, so I put on a happy face every time I played it, even though it was just like, oh, yeah, I got disconnected again. Just like another dagger in the back every time. What a disappointment. I can't wait until that game is playable and decent, and I'll go back into it and probably fall in love with it, but for now, it's the worst.
Nathan's number
Someone
one.
had Starfield on their list, right?
My number 3. And it's only because I had no expectation for it, really. So,
Okay.
yeah.
This is where it is for me. Not that like I played enough of it to get really upset with anything exactly. It was a bounce off experience,
Yeah.
and I sort of feel like I did it to myself, and I knew this would happen. Like, over the summer, I was like, man, I really want a Bethesda style game. I'm gonna finally play Fallout 4. And I put like 70 hours into Fallout 4.
Yeah.
And then when I picked up Starfield, it's just like, oh no, they just made another one of these. Like, I already did this year. I don't want to do this again. So, and the one extra notch against it is just that sense of exploration isn't really there because you
That's
just
me,
kind of fast travel everywhere.
That's my problem
Which
with
is-
it. Yeah.
Sort of counter to all the cool things about how they built other games. So I don't know. It was pretty disappointing right away, but I plan to give it another try this year and see if maybe I can get around a corner on it.
Well,
It
the
looked
fast
kind of
travel, like,
nice.
that map is so confusing to use. Like, I played through
Yeah,
the entirety
true.
of that game, and there are still times like, why can't I go to this spot? Like, what is happening? Like, it's nonsense, that map.
Yeah.
No, it just wasn't the game changing thing Todd Howard said it would be. But I should have known he was
Why'd you listen
exaggerating.
to Todd of all people? Why
but
Todd?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like the not NASA punk that sounded cool. I don't know the aesthetic and everything. But yeah, so it's kind of an asterisk. I plan to give it a real proper amount of time this year and see if I can get on the other side of it and be one of the few people that likes it. But I don't know. We'll see if that happens.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much feel the exact same way as you. My biggest problem is that I just wanted No Man's Sky with, like, Bethesda writing and characters and story, and, like,
Yeah.
that isn't what this is at all. It's a Bethesda game with shitty No Man's Sky, like, half-baked ideas in it. Like, the exploration's just so bad in comparison. That being said, Starfield is on another list, so stay tuned for more talk about that later on, I guess.
Okay.
My most disappointing game of 2023 is The Last Case of Benedict Fox. I thought this game looked
Yeah.
like super cool in the trailers, the vibes, the mood. It even has a cool name. I played it at a preview event, like PAX West. I think it was West, yeah. Beforehand, I was looking quite forward to it, and I probably maybe got an hour into it. It feels awful to play. It was buggy.
Yep.
Like, it's weirdly difficult at the beginning. But the big issue is just, like, it's a Metroidvania where just, like, the character movement and combat feels bad.
Yep.
And I just kind of immediately bounced off it, and that was a bummer.
I'm with you. That first hour is, like, probably the best hour, or the best, like, part of it too, from what I had played. So, like, it's
weird.
pretty
Okay.
bad. The community number 1 pick was Starfield.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Ah,
Congratulations, Bethesda.
You did it.
Finally, an award.
all right, flipping the script. The next category is surprising game of the year. So it's basically the opposite, something we had no expectations going for, and it was a pleasant, positive surprise to us. John, kick us off.
All right, mine's cheating a little bit because my number 3 is Ghost Trick Phantom Detective. Not the I'm surprised by Ghost Trick. I know it's a great game. I'm surprised it got a re-release because
Sure.
I thought that game was
Sure.
just lost media at this point. So
Okay.
pleasant surprise to see our what was it like our podcast 2011 game of the year?
2011, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Like we all
So it was the
genuinely rated
first
that
one,
one
I guess?
crazy high. That was like one of the only
Yeah.
times we're like, yep, this is our love our game. Just the
a
fact that I got
great
re-released
game.
all is incredible. So
Yep.
Ghost Trick.
My number 3 was The Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog.
My
Yeah,
number 3 is the murder
sure.
of Sonic the Hedgehog.
Okay. Just the fact that that was a stupid one-off like April Fool's type thing, and it turned out to just be an enjoyable way to spend a night was pretty great. I thought the writing and everything was pretty fun. It was just a decent visual novel, especially for free.
Yeah, like they came out with the best Sonic game ever, maybe. And like the only bad part of it is the part where you have to play like the mini games that are kind of like more Sonic.
Mini game
and
didn't
it's
really
like,
seem that great.
No. True.
yeah, they weren't, and I just set it to easy because I was like, this is annoying. But yeah, the writing was enjoyable enough. Who cares about the characters? I just need someone to have a fake murder and then an investigation.
Yep.
And yeah, that was fun. It was a small little thing. I played it on the Steam Deck and it ran nicely there. So it was just a weird, pleasant surprise, an April Fool's joke that just came out of nowhere, and yeah, that was a good time.
Yep.
For my number 3, I think because of the like month of horrible reviews and stuff that it endured before I played it, Redfall, I kind of had
Sure.
a fun time. I was just like,
Okay.
hey, I just want to shoot some vampires in Maine. Oh, hey, this game has that. That's great.
Yep.
Oh, it's obviously designed for co-op because every time you die, you kind of stop for a second and go, oh, because you're supposed to be rescued. But I was playing it solo, so I just had to deal with that. But the respawns are pretty generous. I don't know. I played through that whole thing, saw the credits, had a pretty happy vampire time. Tried to con Paul into installing it again and playing it co-op with me, but he wouldn't do it.
True.
So
That's fair.
you know, I only got to play it the one time. But you know, staking vampires and vague Salem's Lot-y kind of vibes to everything. I was kind of happy about that. So, yeah, and now that I can reveal, this is why I played Prey, because this was that team's good game. So I was like, well, if I like their worst game, maybe they did a good job a few years ago, and then I had a better time with that. But this is the stupid Arcane game that was able to lower the bar enough for me to get over it and start appreciating their work and their style. So yeah,
That's like
it led
another
to
kind of
better
weird
things.
thing when you look at the Arcane kind of legacy. It's like I remember the marketing. They were like, you can play it just like an Arcane game. You know, you can do stealth. Why would you ever do stealth in Redfall? That is nonsense. This game might as well be like bad Borderlands.
Just get shotguns and go stab that guy. Go shoot
Yeah,
that thing.
exactly. Yeah, like I couldn't
Yeah.
imagine playing stealth in that thing. Yeah.
I also love that the other Arcane studio is also making a vampire game with Blade.
I know.
So it's just,
Yeah.
it's like, all right, they're
really
doubling
doubled
down on vampires.
Yep.
Yeah. But maybe that'll be
We'll see.
even better.
I think one of my favorite things though about Redfall that came out of it was just kind of all the publicity around it when it came out, and it was such a failure. And it even had Phil Spencer going on and doing interviews kind of about like some behind the scenes, like what happened and stuff. And that was just like kind of really insightful, like a look behind the curtain that we don't often get. And I think that's my favorite thing about Redfall.
It was like it revealed something about the business of modern video games.
Yeah, the business, because that you just like never hear about. Yeah, I think he had like a big interview on like Kind of Funny.
Yeah.
It was like a 45-minute thing. They asked some like hard hitting questions that was just super interesting.
Yeah, no, I also might have to concede, like perhaps with High on Life last year, I might just like bad shooters. Like I just have an appetite for them. So this one worked out for me. I was happy to play through this, but so I was surprised. I was honestly surprised. There was a moment where I like looked at the Metacritic while I was playing. I was like, "What is this? Like a high 60s or something?" And I was like, "No, it's in the 50s. Like people hate this game." Oh, okay. I was gonna give it a 68 or something, but
you have a Google alert for games that get a 50 on Metacritic. Like
once it hits a certain threshold,
it's
like,
it's connected immediately to your Steam wallet. Just buy it. You know I want it. Give me all that.
I don't know.
Like I was saying, doesn't High on Life have a horror DLC called High on Knife?
That's pretty
Does it?
dumb, but great sounding.
Yeah,
I think
that's
that's
kinda
real.
fun.
I think that's real.
Okay.
So anyway,
I should probably check that out, I guess. Although all the Justin Roiland news this year made me feel real bad immediately.
I
I
would
was like,
do it.
I like gave that a super high mark, and I was like all about that guy like 12 months ago, and now it's just like, oh, well, sorry, I didn't know, but yeah.
okay, that was your number 3. My number 3 was Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog.
All
Okay.
right. Okay.
Community.
Community number 3 was Baldur's Gate.
Okay,
That's
sure.
just the
Okay.
first one, not even the third, just the
No,
first one.
Baldur's Gate 3, to be specific.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've never heard of this Baldur's Gate series. It's time to give it a try.
This is very surprising.
What? My number 2 was Suika Game, because that just kind of came out of nowhere and kind of took everything by storm for like a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was just like a fun little puzzle game, just a nice time waster, just weirdly charming for what was otherwise just a simple like physics 2048 style game.
That's a great game. Easy to rip off too, which is great because there's different versions of it doing kind of their
Yeah,
own
there's
thing.
someone built one and put our community characters in it, so like we've
Yeah.
got a custom one. Yeah.
That's great. Good stuff.
Nice.
My number 2 was My Friendly Neighborhood. Not necessarily that like it was going to be fun, because a horror game with puppets always sounds like it's probably going to be kind of fun, but the fact that it's like one of the best Resident Evil games of the year is insane. It like that game is very, very good, that in a way I guess I wasn't ready for. It almost broke the big lists, but it was way too stacked this year, so that got thrown off pretty quick, I will say.
Okay.
But yeah, if you like Resident Evil type games, especially like first person, like Resident Evil 7 and 8 or whatever, it's definitely worth looking into. Just weird Muppety horror stuff going on. But cutesy, like it's not disgusting or anything.
Nice.
Number 2 for me was F-Zero 99.
Yeah, that's a good
Which
surprise.
watching the Nintendo Direct even was just like, I just love it when it's like, and it's out right now, you could go play it. It's like, oh
Yeah.
great. It was just, it's been what, 21 years? It's been a weird amount of time since there's been an F-Zero game, so for Nintendo to acknowledge it and release a cool thing is in and of itself a surprise, and then it's easily the most I've ever played of an F-Zero game. I'm not great at
Nice.
it though, I will admit.
Yeah.
I maybe got a top 10 finish once, but I kept trying. I kept racing. Too much Mute City 1.
Yeah,
But-
way too much New City 1.
Yeah.
It wins every poll. It's like, come on, I want to do something else, but oh well. Still pretty fun time though. So yeah, F-Zero.
Speaking of games that just come right out, my number 2 is Hi-Fi Rush.
Nice. Yep. That was a good one.
So Microsoft did the Nintendo thing and just dropped it out of nowhere, and it was pretty crazy that this thing came out of Tango. That's another surprise in of itself, a horror studio. And it's probably one of the like most striking visually looking games like ever, really. Like it looks so good. They just dove in to this aesthetic. It plays great. It's the characters are written super well. And yeah, it came out of absolutely nowhere, and that was super cool.
And the community number 2 was also Hi-Fi Rush.
Oh, hey, nice.
All right, my number 1 surprise this year was Pizza Tower. I was
too.
not expecting. Nice. I was not expecting this like gross ass looking game to actually be as much fun as it is.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like,
true.
I like Wario games, and this is the kind of Wario game I'm on because I like 1, 2, 3 Wario, not 4, and this is very clearly 4.
Yeah.
And I bounced off of this one at first, but I came back to it and appreciated it for what it was, and yeah, I think it's generally like a good, fun game.
Yeah. No, it's super
Crazy
super
art style for sure.
The fact that they made a Wario game in 2023 is crazy, and the fact that it's
Actually,
really,
there's a
really good.
second one coming out too. The Anton Blast is also out really soon, I think.
Yep, that's true. Exciting times.
I feel weird
Okay.
about this one, but so it goes. Pikmin 4. Mostly
Hmm.
because I was worried about this one. I wasn't sure it would be good. Because I didn't like 3 very much. I played it again last year. And had a lot of frustrating times that I think I talked about, at least with Paul at some point, about my watermelon disaster after that boss battle. Doesn't matter. Uh, there were so many little quality of life improvements in Pikmin 4 that I was just like constantly happy with little things they did. And it feels sort of like a greatest hits of just like some of the best stuff from 2. And then also some great new stuff with the night missions and whatever. Um, and it just kind of kept giving me more stuff. Like there's like an Olimar campaign, there's like a secret dungeon of more puzzles and stuff as you keep playing. So I was just really happy. I was constantly happier and happier as I played more and more of
Nice.
it. So yeah.
So wholesome. Okay. My number 1 is Lies of P.
Nice.
Elden Ring is basically like my kind of well, I guess it's not my first Souls-like, but the one I probably spent the most time with and really dove into. And up until Lies of P, all the Souls-likes that I play through have a lot of co-op, and that's very important. And then Lies of P was like, no, we don't do that because fuck you. So I was like, all right, I guess I have to like get good and do this by myself. And I did do it by myself. I did the whole game by myself.
Nice.
So that was also a surprise. But I think it's also surprising because this game is based on Pinocchio. And that's
Yeah.
absurd.
Yep.
So, and it's also extremely good, which I think surprised everyone. Like everyone thinks this is a fantastic Souls-like. So and I think it's very good too. I had a ton of fun with it. And I just enjoyed my time start to finish. Really rewarding. So yeah, Lies of P.
Cool. And the community one was F-Zero 99.
Yeah, not surprised.
Okay.
Nice. All right, new category time. Best game of the year or game of the year through osmosis. These are games we did not play. We absorbed enough peripheral experiences of them. Maybe someone talked about it. Maybe you watched a stream, yada yada, but you did not play the game yourself. John, number 3.
Number 3, Sea of Stars. I love Chrono Trigger. I love like those kind of like chill SNES style JRPGs. And everything I saw about this game looked great. The Messenger devs worked on it, which I love the Messenger. Everything about this seems like it'd be right up my alley. Just didn't get around to it. But yeah, no, everything I saw on it just looked like I got to check this out at some point. So it felt like it would have been a top contender for sure.
Nice.
Nice. I only have 2, so skip me this round.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with the making of Karateka. I watched Jeff Gerstmann play a bunch of other ports of Karateka, so I got my own little history lesson on bad versions of that game, which made me curious about the authored history, good version of the Jordan Mechner documentary kind of thing. So, and I liked Atari 50 last year, which was the same people, I believe. So,
Yep.
I'm curious about it, but I'm also I saw a bunch of Karateka play this year, and it's a pretty short game, so I don't know. I'm not primed right now to go through those. So yeah, but I had a bit of a Karateka experience this year. So yeah.
My number 3 is El Paso Elsewhere.
Nice.
This was just talked about on a lot of game podcasts. All talked about it too. Just very high, well regarded. Definitely seems like a game I would absolutely be into. But I'm looking forward to one day playing it for sure.
Yep. Cool game. The number 3 choice for the community was Alan Wake 2.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah. My number 2 of best game I didn't play, Mortal Kombat 1. I
Nice.
love this series to death, even though it's cheesy as heck and looks really stiff as heck. There's just something about the Mortal Kombat games I just love. And I was really worried at first when they were ramping up for this game. I was like, oh no, Johnny's not going to be as good as he was because the last few games have made Johnny a main focus, and he still kind of is in this one from what I've seen. So I'm still glad that he's there being the snarky asshole that he normally is. The interactions between the fighters seem really fun. Story mode seems good as always. And the character roster for the guest pass is batshit insane with Omni-Man from Invincible, Homelander from The Boys, and
Peacemaker,
aka John Cena
Yep.
Yeah.
from
And I forgot I don't remember
Suicide
the fourth one.
Squad. Yeah, no, like it's just a weird ass list, and it's just like this would have been right up my alley. This definitely would have landed on top 10.
That's a good honorary 3 for me. I'll take. I've watched a few people play some matches of that too. I didn't watch the story mode because that's kind of the thing I go to Mortal Kombat for. But like that seems like a cool game for sure. My number 2 was Hardcore World of Warcraft, which is just basically classic WoW, but if you die, you're completely dead. And particularly because a giant group of streamers created a guild with the intention of getting up to 60 and doing raids or whatever. And the amount of like drama and shit that ensued was hilarious. But like,
oh my god,
that's not something I would ever do myself. That's just ridiculous. But like, it's the type of thing where they're like getting close to level 60, the max level or whatever. And then like one of the main people dies. And it's just like, okay, well, that person just now has to play for 3 days straight to make raid by the end of the week. just shit like that. It's just like, this is ridiculous.
Gross.
And they did. And I don't want to talk about
Well, they
too much.
commitment to the bit.
I don't want to talk about, like, people should watch, I think his name is Rav on YouTube, or if you look up Rav the Avatar, there's a whole series he did. He's a League of Legends YouTuber, I guess. And he was part of this thing and kind of, like, documented his journey. And it's fucking incredible. It's some of the best YouTube WoW content maybe in the last decade. It's so good. I recommend people check that stuff out. But yeah, that was a great time this year.
Kind of different criteria for this one, but WarioWare Move It. I've played a lot of WarioWare over the years, including the much maligned Get It Together, which wasn't very good. So I just kind of felt a little burned from that and wasn't in a place where I wanted to jump back in that soon after, but I still intend to play it long term because I like the series and I hope it's better, but I haven't looked at it yet. I haven't done that yet. So
I'm in a similar boat, feeling burned from Get It Together, but but another part is that I just don't think I want motion controls.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the
I've heard
Wii
people
one.
said it's all right. Like it works fine, but like I'm also of like I just give me button.
Yeah, I liked the Wii one as well. I had remember I had friends over for like a sleepover. We played a ton of it, but I think I'm just like past that part of my life. Like I just don't want to use motion controls.
Yeah, something was holding me back a little bit, but honestly, I'd rather have Rhythm Heaven, but
for sure.
Well, this is still something I'm curious about, but I haven't done it yet. So, number 2.
And my number 2 is Armored Core 6. I don't think I'm ever going to play this game. I have no history with the series, but this was another one where it was very popular and a lot of people talked about it, and it sounded very cool. But I just think it's not my game, and I'm not going to want to bang my head against it. So this is like the perfect, like, I only want to experience it through osmosis.
Yeah, totally fair. The community number 2 was Lethal Company.
Oh, that's fair.
Yep.
Oh, that thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. My number 1 for best game I did not play this year was Final Fantasy 16.
Mm-hmm.
I keep wanting to get into Final Fantasy so bad, or back into it, I guess, and being told it's Devil May Cry, done by the writers of Final Fantasy 14, which people praise having the best story. I'm like, this seems so up my alley. And just like all the little things I see about it, all the voice actors having fun with the goofy characters and everything, and just like even though the game itself is serious, all the different directions it goes in from what I've seen, it seems like I would really get a lot out of this. But I installed it and I just never got a chance to get around to it. But what I saw online looked like a lot of fun, so definitely would have scratched the top 10 at that point.
And you're a Game of Thrones fan too. It has some of like that feel to it for a lot.
Yeah,
that game's just so long. But yeah, no.
I will say the story does not stick the landing. The Game of Thrones does not last it's a good first half of a game. So you'll get all the stuff you want in the first half of the game. I'll say that.
Yeah. My number 1 is a ROM hack called Grand Poo World 3.
Oh my god.
Yeah. That basically I've been watching the creator of it create it for the last 4 years on and off or whatever. I don't usually actually watch him, mainly because my times don't align or whatever. But anytime it was like a stream where he would stream like the creation of it, I would try to be there and watch it and just chill out there. So I like followed this thing from nothing to it being made to seeing people learn it, beat it, and now are speedrunning it. And it's just been like this weird 4 years of my life, essentially, that I've been following this thing. And the culmination came at the end of last year, around November-ish. So it's been super, super cool.
Well, this one's different criteria again, but I didn't want to make the same mistake I did with the Fallout 4 Starfield thing and double dip too quickly on something. So I finally played Fallen Order this year and had a great time. Star Wars Jedi.
Yeah.
But I'm not like keen on playing the sequel so soon after. So I'm just kind of kicking it back with Survivor. So I'm just out of sync with the timeline of that series. I'll probably play it in like 4 years. And it launched a little rough, so I felt okay about sitting out for a while. Yeah, I actually heard that too about Fallen Order. I was like, this got great reviews, right? And it's like, no, you played a fixed version like way later and had a way better time. It's like, oh, great. So I'll do that again. I did kind of a run of some Star Wars games this year, and that was the standout. So I'm keen to play this eventually, but I'm not feeling the pressure to do so right now. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cal Kestis' journey will have to wait for me. But
Nope.
yeah.
Okay, my number one. I also kind of cheated because I have kind of like a 1A and 1B.
Okay.
Let me say the like official one first is Void Stranger, because you two, Paul and John, are very big on it, and sounds something I would really like. So I just heard a lot of good praise from you guys.
Sure.
So that's probably like my most like I do want to find time for this thing.
Okay.
Now my 1B, this is a game I did play, and it didn't come out this year, so that also doesn't really count it. But in terms of me like watching content around a game, this is by far the winner here, and that's the making of Psychonauts 2.
Oh, sure.
And so that did come out in 2023, and it's one of like the best documentary series on game developments of all time. And I enjoy, and like I watched like there's like 60 hours of that thing. And I completely ate it up and loved every minute of it. So that gets like an honorary mention.
Awesome. The top experience through osmosis for the community was Baldur's Gate 3. Makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, that makes sense for sure. All right, last category before the game of the year is games you swear you'll come back to. So these are games you did play, and like, you know, they're probably still installed on your hard drive. You know, you keep the cartridge close. Well, it's 2023. You're definitely not keeping the cartridge close. But for whatever reason, you keep telling yourself, yeah, as soon as I clear this next game or I clear a little bit of time, I'm going to get back to it. But we all probably know you won't. But, you know, you keep the dream alive, and that's what we're doing here. John, what's your number 3?
Spider-Man 2. Love the first one. Love Miles Morales. Just never got to put any time into Spider-Man 2. I got like through the intro, and that was it.
Sure.
Be like that sometimes. Yep.
Listen, I thought I was disappointed by Starfield, but I will revisit it at some point and see if it sticks the landing another time. So okay. I will definitely go back to it at some point when it's just like, I have nothing to do for a week. Let's try this thing out again or something. And
Did you finish it?
Fuck no. I stopped playing it after like 4 hours or something. Like, not long.
Hey, remember Forspoken? I have that game.
Yeah.
That is like high on my like. I really want to play this because I hear like
there's
enough things.
There's something about the traversal, you know.
Right.
Like I don't know. I wasn't hating it. It's just I couldn't keep it installed. It's like 130 gigs or something, so I had to get rid of that thing to play other games. But I'll probably look at that again at some point in time. So yeah.
The game is weirdly cheap,
Hennig,
like on PlayStation now. I keep seeing it for like $15. Like
Yeah.
Part of me is like, I should get it, but then I'm like, I have so many I want to really play, but that is high on my list for sure.
Yeah, I intend to look at that thing again. So, Forspoken.
Nice.
My number 3 is Disney Illusion Island. I got like 75% of this game done. I'm actually pretty sure I'll come back to it, but I kind of started playing it co-op, and I just need to get that friend group again together. But it's been kind of long enough that like I don't know if that's actually going to happen. But like I would really like to come and just kind of finish off what is probably no longer than 2 or 3 hours left of that game.
Yeah, that game's all right. Like I did it solo, so I'm just like, yeah, you're probably close to the end.
It's a totally fine. Yeah, it's good.
I thought you finished it for some reason. I guess I misunderstood.
I did. I don't think Sean did.
Oh, okay. Number 3 for the community was Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp.
Okay.
Long games.
Yep.
That actually came out. They were able to release it.
Finally,
They
yeah.
were. Yes.
Yeah.
My number 2, RoboCop Rogue City. I love me some RoboCop, and that game is just the right amount of RoboCop and dumb, and it's just mwah, love it. But never got around
So
to
it's like
finishing it.
RoboCop 2, I guess. Okay.
Sure.
It's kind of dumb, but okay.
I think RoboCop 1's got more like the right amount of dumb. I think 2 goes a little too far into dumb.
Okay. Well, that's an endorsement then.
Is
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
This almost doesn't count for me because I know it's a game I'm going back to, and it's Diablo 4 because it's doing seasons, and I'm gonna check out every season of that thing probably. So, but yeah, I mean, I'll play.
But you saw some credits on that thing, right? Like you.
Oh yeah, no, I've played every
played that
season so
thing.
far. I just mean like
Oh
the
yeah.
game I'm
okay.
going to get back to or whatever.
He swears he comes back to it. That's the name of the category.
Okay, I have a need to come back to finish, and it might be an infinite game, but okay.
Guess.
Slayer's X, Terminal Aftermath, Vengeance of the Slayer.
Oh wow! Wow!
I got to defeat Mevin. I mean,
Yeah.
he's still out there taunting me, so I got to get that glass gun and go kill that guy. I'm assuming they haven't really dropped the penny that that's what's gonna happen, but that's what's gonna happen. So I'll see it through. It's a super short game, so
Wait,
I gotta get those.
That was your
achievements.
disappointing as well, right?
It was also disappointing.
We have a
better
sickness where
Hypnospace.
we're disappointed by this thing, but I gotta get back to you.
But I'll get the credits on. I'm gonna
Cry for
see
help,
it.
man. It's just a cry for help.
It's still in
It'd
solid.
be like
It's not
that, I
very
get it.
big.
It'd be like
Yeah.
that, yeah,
It's trivial hard drive space, so
yeah.
I'll keep it.
My number 2 is Like a Dragon Ishin.
Yeah.
I don't know how far I am in that game. I'm significantly far. I just don't know how long it is. I don't think it's particularly long compared to the other ones, so I gotta be at least halfway done it. So I will just like finish that up at some point because I do plan to play everything Yakuza before I die. So I do
Oh,
have to.
You
finish
set a
this.
reasonable goal.
Yeah.
So I'll get back to it one day.
Number 2 for the community was The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom.
Okay.
Sure.
Makes sense.
Okay.
My number 1 I had to change on the fly because somehow I missed this game when writing down the games I played this year. Void Stranger.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was really into that for like I don't know, like a week, a month, and then just like never touched it. But it's because I was playing it on my Steam Deck, so I'm like, okay, well then next time I pull out the Steam Deck, I'll play it.
Yeah.
And then I haven't used my Steam Deck since, so it's just like, oh, I don't even remember where I am in that. I think I'm literally gonna turn on the game. It's gonna start a cutscene. Oops.
There's a lot in
Yeah.
that game too, so yeah, I get it. My number 1 is Lies of P because that game is fucking amazing, and I'm mad that I didn't play more of it. But again, it'd be like that sometimes. I can't wait to play more of it.
It's good.
All right, I'm gonna follow Paul's logic on the Diablo
Okay.
and pivot my number 1 answer to a game I think is good instead of this other one. Alan Wake 2. There's the promise of DLC, which I'm excited about, and there's
Okay.
also the like final draft mode, which I did start, but it's just like, oh man, I'm just playing this again, and I know different things will happen, but I just played this, so I haven't done that yet. But that's
Sure.
definitely going to happen in 2024. is some more Alan Wake 2, and I did not uninstall it. It's sitting there waiting for me to play more of it. So
Nice.
yeah, that's something I'm keen about, as opposed to that Todd Howard game that we were talking about before. So,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
that gets bumped off the list.
So like for this category can definitely be good games. All my games are
Yeah.
good games. They're just games that like I
Yeah.
significantly left, and I keep telling myself I'm coming back. Like my number one game, Hi-Fi Rush, because I played it for about the first week and then stopped, and have had it installed on 2 Xboxes for the entire year because I keep telling myself that's going to be the next thing as soon as I clear it up. But it was 2023. So there was always like a big massive thing grabbing my attention each week. So to be fair, I did boot it up last week and played like 15 minutes of it. And then Prince of Persia showed up and I was like, well, that's why it's number 1 on my list for games I swear I'm coming back to.
Fair enough. The community one is no shock at all. Baldur's Gate 3, probably the biggest game of the year. So
Yeah.
There's a lot to come back to.
yeah.
All right. Time for the big category. Everyone get comfortable.
Oh boy, top
3
10.
of us have 10 games here. Nathan has 5, so he will join into the rotation at 5. Once again, if someone's game is higher up on your list, call it out and we will talk about it when we get to the highest spot.
And
John,
we're
what
doing
is your
honorable
10?
mentions after, I guess.
Correct. Yes.
Oh, okay. I'll
right.
make one of those then, so we even out. Gotcha.
Okay.
As is tradition, I am changing my list at the last moment as always.
Hell
because I
yeah.
keep reminding me about games that I did not come out. When I
Everything's
started-
fluid until you say it into the microphone. So
Yeah.
Yep.
The funny thing was I wrote down, I counted how many games I had played this year because I do that every year now. And originally I wrote 49, which was 1 game less than I had played last year. And then during this podcast alone, 2 games were named that I forgot I didn't write down. So now I'm 1 game more than I was last
Wow.
year.
Nice.
there you go.
Number 10, RoboCop Rogue City. Again, not
Nice.
a surprise. I'm a big RoboCop fan. I never really got into Fallout, but this really does seem like what Fallout would be if it was RoboCop in a way. At least
Oh,
like that
weird.
kind of like that bread and butter for it at least. I just love the grittiness of RoboCop in general. I love just the right level of stupid silliness that they slip into the world. It feels very like how the movies are. I've just always had I've just enjoyed that character a lot. And then yeah, no, genuinely like a super fun game. So
Nice. My number 10 is Pizza Tower.
that is on my list.
Yeah, I figured. So we'll
Right.
move on.
To
All
me,
right.
I guess.
Okay.
Wait, because you don't have a number 10, right, Nathan?
Yeah, I was gonna do every other round or whatever. So okay, yeah, I can sit for a second. It's cool.
My number 10 is Chance of Sinar.
This is
What?
higher on my
this-
list.
Okay. All right.
Not gonna be talking about much apparently. What's the community number 10, or did we only do top 3?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, community number 10
Oh, we did 10.
is Hi-Fi Rush.
All right.
Nice.
My number 9, Bomb Rush Cyberpunk.
Nice.
I love Jet Set Radio Future, and this is just Jet Set Radio Future done by not the devs of Jet Set Radio.
Someone's gotta
it
do
feels good. It feels good. Combo system's fun. I normally hate the graffiti system. Like I hate Jet Set Radios, but like this one actually does a pretty good job of it. It has a nice fun feel to it. The soundtrack is amazing, and just the story just seems somewhat engaging. So yeah, no, into it.
That's a great choice. My number 9 is Diablo 4. So this is a game that I've been kind of up and down with, but every time I remember back to that first playthrough, which is kind of, I think, the thing they cared most about, like that campaign mode in the first playthrough is so good, and I had such a great time with it. It's a little bit of a shame that they had a little stumble with the season stuff, but they kind of righted themselves with season 2 a decent amount, so I'm optimistic about where they're going forward with it. But it's just such a nice return to form for Diablo. I didn't like Diablo 3 as much or whatever, even though that got better eventually with the Reaper of Souls DLC and some other stuff. But Diablo 4, right from the get-go, was just so engaging and so fun to me. Yeah, it's a great game.
Oh, okay. The bottom of my list is F-Zero 99. Can I talk about it, or is it?
Yeah.
on
Okay. So
someone
this is
else's
your
list?
number 5 game? that what you're
This is
saying?
my number 5, which is sort of equivalent to your number 10. If you want to do it that way.
What, sure.
Yeah.
So, but in that regard, your number 1 is only as good as my number 2.
Yeah, that's how the math
Oh, okay.
works. That's just how it is.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, F-Zero 99, it was a fun surprise as we talked about, but I also just enjoyed unlocking cars and playing over and over, just sitting down for a couple races. And I didn't do very well, but I kept trying. So it was fun to play a battle royale of sorts in the Nintendo vein. That wasn't as punishingly like difficult as Tetris 99, which I'm worse at. So,
Okay.
thanks Nintendo.
My number 9 is Dave the Diver.
Nice.
I heard
All
about
right.
that game. Yeah.
Dave the Diver is awesome. This is kind of what triggered me to go back to play Moonlighter, because it's very similar of like kind of doing a dungeon crawl-esque roguelike and going and like preparing a shop and selling stuff. Or one is you're actually dungeon crawling and selling, versus Dave the Diver is you are fishing and then serving sushi. Dave the Diver also has like literally a million other like kind of mechanics in it, and they just keep adding it, and it's insane. I'm in like the second or third last chapter, and I'm still getting new stuff. They could have stopped adding, and I would have been happy after like chapter 2. But there's just so much in this game. I think it's also just a great value. Like it's like an almost 30-hour game. They released it for like $15 or whatever. Like it looks great. It plays great. It's super enjoyable. And like I was talking to Paul about this, they went so above and beyond what was probably necessary with just like the goofy cutscenes and stuff of like
Yeah.
man creating sushi on the peak of a mountain with his flaming fist. Like that didn't need to be in there, but they did that, and that's so enjoyable. It was also the game that I treated myself with after I treated myself with a Steam Deck OLED, and it was just such the perfect combination because those colors just absolutely popped and made me feel better about this unjustifiable purchase I just made.
Yeah. It is really such a great game. And if Baldur's Gate 3 is the like biggest game, Dave the Diver is definitely the most game. There's so much shit in there. It's insane. Community number 9 is Metroid Prime Remastered and Sea of Stars. It was a tie.
Okay.
All right, my number 8. We are on number 8, right?
Yep.
Yes.
My number 8 is Super Mario Brothers Wonder.
This
Or
is
Super
higher.
Mario
This is
for me.
also my number 8. Okay, we'll talk about
That's-
it when we get to
that's,
Paul's.
higher on my list. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay, we'll talk about it later.
and now we skip Nathan.
Paul,
right?
you're number 8.
Oh, no.
I mean, I could
right.
give my 8
Yeah, no, you're
equivalent,
right.
But
I-
I think it's you anyway.
Yeah, I'm confused. My number 8 is a Doom mod called myhouse.wad or just my house. And
Oh yeah, this is higher on my list.
yeah, of course. This my house is incredible. That thing is great. So it's a boomer shooter where the idea is the way it's presented is that it's uploaded on the Doom forums of just like, hey, my buddy died. I went to his house. Like his mom gave me a box of his stuff to remember him by. And like one of it is like this flash drive and a journal or whatever. And on the flash drive is an unfinished WAD file for Doom. So it's like a meta thing. And I kind of put it together, check it out, see what you guys think or whatever. And then it devolves into this just like crazy existential nightmare. Like there's meta stuff going on in it. There's literally just like a Google Drive with a journal that you can read with like some pictures drawn in it as well. I don't want to get too far into it in case people want to check it out, but like the whole ride of that thing is madness. It's just madness. It's so good. It's one of the best things. Like it's one of the best mods I've ever played, but it's definitely one of the best things I played in 2023.
Oh,
Okay, so
I'll
this way
do my
we're
8 equivalent because it sounds better down here in this part of the list.
Okay.
It's this vampire game Arcane Studios put out.
Oh my
Um,
god!
It's kind of like that movie Salem's Lot, but you have a shotgun with a stake on it. It's called Redfall.
Okay.
It was fun
Yeah.
for me to do that. I enjoyed it,
That's
but I
cool.
don't want it to be like while you guys are talking about your 4th best game of the year, I suddenly pop in with Redfall because I'll sound insane. So it's There's an asterisk next to it. If you want to shoot vampires in a kind of glitchy game on Game Pass, Redfall, maybe. It's okay.
Okay.
So, number 8/4.
And my 8 was Super Mario Bros. Wonder, which we will talk about later.
Community number 8 was Fire Emblem Engage.
There you go.
Sure.
My number 7, Warstride Challenges. Now, Nathan talked about earlier about not really being into boomer shooters all that much, but this is the year I got reminded how much I like them. So, like boomer shooters and twitchy shooters. So this is basically just a speed run game of twitchy boomer shooters, but it's all about movement. You have like good like midair dashes. You have like all these different variety of weapons. There's a level creator. It's just got sharp challenges. It's just weirdly fun to do. It's so fast and twitchy. I originally did it for a sponsored segment because I was like, oh, this seems neat. And then I fell in love with it. I think we spent like a half an hour to an hour of the segment trying to do one like extreme challenge stage. And it was just, I couldn't put it down. I was having so much fucking fun with it. So this is the year I got reminded that I love boomer and twitch shooters. And that's what got Warstride on number 7.
You have so much choice.
Yeah, I just looked it up. This looks good.
Yeah, that's the good thing is like I'm only just getting back into them now, and I'm just like, oh, I missed a lot.
Like from this year alone, there was some incredible boomer shooters that I have this problem with boomer shooters where I play them for a while. I'm super into them, but I never finish them. I just drop them at some point, and I don't know why.
I have that problem with video games in general, but yeah.
Fair. Fair enough. Well, sticking on the mod train, my number 7 is Celeste Mario's Zap and Dash. This is the Celeste movement tech Super Mario Bros. 1 thing, which is not just a remake of Celeste or anything. It is a Super Mario Bros. 1 Kaizo type game where you have the like midair dash and wall climbing and stuff like that. And just the way that thing is put together and how it plays is really well done. It's done like a Metroidvania as well, which is kind of fun. There's like a challenge mode sort of thing at the very end to kind of test you a little bit more. Yeah, that thing's just really, really good. I had such a good time with it.
Nice. Are we skipping Nathan this round?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. My number 7 is Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
Oh.
I think this game is extremely enjoyable. I do like Fallen Order. I think this one's like better. The kind of openish world Metroidvania style thing is very fun. You can equip the goofiest hairstyles on Cal. Like,
I was gonna ask if you could do different beard styles. So this
you
is
can
great.
do beard. You can do beard styles. You can do hairstyles. You unlock a mullet pretty early on in the game that makes him look like just an absolute dirtbag.
Great.
And then one thing that kind of just surprised me about it was how great the performances were and how much I enjoyed the story and the character arcs going and the different relationships. Which I just kind of was not expecting to attach onto at all in this, but that was great. The different lightsaber stances in this one are way better than the first one, and you basically get like a great sword one that's pretty ridiculous because you're just like destroying people with this lightsaber that for no good reason is heavy for you. I don't know how that makes any sense narratively in that
That
world,
light is
but that's
so
how
dense.
yeah, exactly. So it is just really fun and enjoyable. I had a great time. I wish it was less buggy for sure, but it is what it is.
Sure. Number 7 was Final Fantasy 16 for the community.
Okay.
Okay.
Nice. My number 6, Suika game.
Nice. Yep. It had to be there.
Yep. Like I said, fun mobile-like game that just was super cheap. I technically didn't even come out this year, but it's the Switch version specifically that kind of took everything by storm.
Yeah.
It just was really fun. It was just, I just loved playing it on stream and just vibing along with it and just relaxing. Just genuinely like fun time.
Yeah.
Good.
Super addictive. There's a decent Steam ripoff one that I've been playing too that was like $1 or whatever. But there's also Suika.world, which is free. Like, yeah, there's
the online multiplayer one. Yeah.
Yeah. No, good stuff.
Yeah. The one that one of my community members made also, they added in some extra things where you could like spend your points to like shuffle the board around a little bit. Like it would be like a point of impact. You'd click and then it would burst things around. And it
Oh,
actually
fun.
changed the
Okay.
game to a point where it actually was really fun and you could get super high scores using it.
That's pretty cool. Damn. I should go back and see some of that stuff. That's neat. All right, Sean, let's talk about Chance of Sonar, my number 6 game of the year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So, Chance of Sonar, this is one of the games that I had been waiting to get to for a while. I was put off a little bit because I didn't really want to get into like another puzzly game. I've been playing I had been playing Void Stranger, and that's one of those games where like you write everything down because you need to remember stuff or whatever. Chance of Sonar is not like that at all. Everything's kind of built in-house, as it were, in the UI for how you puzzle that thing through. And I think I was just taken back by how like well those languages are designed to be different enough that like every time you are learning a new one, like it makes sense. Like there's a good analog in the real world to it, and like how the grammar changes as well, and then having to mix between the different like languages to talk to each other, and how it kind of builds the story of you kind of bringing the people together or whatever is just super good. The puzzles are great. The music's great. It's just such a vibe too. Like that game is incredible.
Yeah, this was like probably the like last game I played that entered into my list for the year. I just kind of played it over the course of a weekend, which was pretty enjoyable because I think it would be very hard to pause this game and come back later with all the things you need to kind of keep in mind and juggle around. Like I said on the main show, if you like Return of the Obra Dinn, you're going to find a lot to like here, and I like that game quite a bit. It's just the whole deduction thing, piecing things together. I have 2 out of the 3 of this page. I can figure it out. And then, yeah, it is very cool just how tight the like puzzling of how the languages interact with one another. And it's like, okay, well, they use this word to describe this kind of character, but in this society, for the same kind of character, they call them this, and you're figuring those out. And it's just like a really smart game. It makes you feel really smart, and it's so cool to just kind of get lost in and learn this language. It's a pretty unique puzzle game.
Also, it looks incredible. Just to throw that out there too.
It has a great look for sure. Yeah.
My 6/3 is Mario Wonder. So can we talk about it now, or is it higher?
I think it's still higher on Paul's list.
It is, yeah.
All right,
Okay.
we'll get to that later then. My number 6 is Fire Emblem Engage.
Oh,
This has just kind of been at like the top of my games I need to remember when I get to Game of the Year, since it came out in like January, and like no one's talking about this game anymore. But it's such a good Fire Emblem. I think it looks really nice. The music is always good in Fire Emblem, but my problem with like Three Houses was it was just far too easy. And then this one, even though the story is awful, like it is just mind-numbingly bad. They brought the combat back. They brought the puzzle aspect of it back, and so playing it was for me just a lot more fun. And what was missing from Three Houses, they kind of flipped the switch. Whereas Three Houses had like a really cool story and interesting characters, and they got rid of all that and said, "Well, let's make the gameplay interesting this time." So hey, maybe next time they'll get it right again and get them both. But I really was surprised and had a lot of fun with Engage. And again, I think it looks just so good.
nice. The community choice was Super Mario RPG.
Oh yeah.
For sure. Okay.
Number 5, Advanced Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp.
Nice.
I love the first Advanced Wars so much, and getting to play through it again was so nice to play on the Switch. It felt like going back to my childhood. It was really fun. Actually getting to
Adorable.
enjoy the multiplayer properly because of playing it online or playing it locally with friends was also nice because I never really got to do that with the original Advanced Wars. I feel like I actually got the experience I wanted back then as a kid, and I finally had to experience Advance Wars 2 because I never really got into that one because I was like, oh, I played the first one, I don't need to play the next one. So it was just like a super fun, great experience. I had a great time with it.
Awesome. I'm pretty sure we're going to be skipping me because my 5 is Alan Wake 2, and that's surely higher for you guys.
Yeah, that's higher on my list.
That's higher on my list.
Okay.
Yep.
Skipping
So-
Nathan, right?
Yep.
So my number
Uh,
5.
Yeah, you're number 5.
Yeah.
Number 5 is Tears of the Kingdom.
Okay.
Wow.
Sounds
I'm
like that's
actually
the
surprised.
highest. Okay. For the record, I did not finish this one. I finished Breath of the Wild. I like Breath of the Wild more. I still can't deny how great Tears of the Kingdom is. And I say that, and it's probably, Breath of the Wild was like my number 2 game that year. This one's significantly lower. I'm not the kind of person that wants to like find my own fun, build my own thing. And while I'm playing this, I am kind of like avoiding like building a car and driving it. I'm just going to run over there. But it is still the sense of exploration, I feel like, is still there. I dove into it like over the holidays and I was doing like the labyrinth area. There's just still so much to find. I think it's a really great Zelda game for sure. Clearly, I'm the only one in the room who believes that, which is fine. But I can't deny it. I still had a really good time, and the 4 dungeons that are there are still really good. That wind one is such a awesome one, especially the boss fight is just so cool. So yeah, there you go. Tears of the Kingdom. It's on someone's list.
Cool. Community number 5 was Pikmin 4.
There you go.
Nice.
My number 4, which I had to throw in last minute because I forgot when I went through the list. I didn't see it on there. Void Stranger.
This is higher for me.
I had a feeling. I
Okay.
had a feeling.
Don't worry, soon. My number 4, we can finally talk about Wonder. Let's talk about Super Mario Wonder.
All right. That's a video
Oh
game.
yeah, super. Yeah, there's some fun stuff in there. I don't know.
Yeah. So Super Mario Wonder
Mario's
for
pretty good
me
jumping.
is what Odyssey did for 3D. Like, it made me actually like 2D Marios again for the first time in years. Basically, I really liked anytime I went into a stage, it was like a decent Mario stage, but there was always a fun gimmick to look forward to. And that kind of put it over the top for me. I liked going into each new stage and just seeing, oh man, like what is going to be the weird batshit thing they do now? And sometimes it's disappointing. It's just like, oh, it's a shitty march with a shitty song. But sometimes it's like, oh, everything has completely changed and now we're doing like this weird auto scroller thing while I'm like juggling myself on top of a bunch of bulls or something. Like it gets so crazy in some parts and it made it worth wanting to see every second that I could of that game. And then like compounded with the fact that you have the different perk system or whatever, even though only 2 perks are the like ones you'll ever use probably. I like the idea that while I'm kind of searching for secrets, I can put on this one that will like make a dinging sound or whatever when I'm near one. Or I like this one to do like a better jump or whatever. Or the floating is like all you're probably ever going to use, frankly. But yeah, I think that game is just so well-rounded for like any demographic or whatever. It's one of the ones that I've heard a lot of people say that they've played with like their kids or friends or whatever. Yeah, that game is just incredible. And one of the best games of the year for me.
I kind of like the online element too of just seeing someone else struggling in the same level you're in and you kind of help each other out. Like I definitely had some good like community moments with people, which was kind of cool. I think you turned that stuff off.
I did.
So apparently the
I
game
turned it
doesn't
off.
need
Yeah.
it. Okay.
I'm with you, Nathan, though.
Um,
I liked it. And even the like goofy little like fun park stuff where you kind of need
Yeah.
those people. Like
or
I
there's
liked
these
that it
kind
was
of
there.
puzzle levels where it's just like there's a bunch of invisible things in here, and then you're just kind of seeing other players go struggle in certain areas that gives you clues and stuff. It was kind of neat. And yeah, I just enjoyed playing through all of that stuff, like kind of Super Mario World style. It kind of rewards you
Yeah.
for doing all the things and getting all the things. So I wanted to do that. I did have to play as what's that guy's name? Nabbit.
Yeah.
To finish the last level. I'll admit that, I'm not that awesome. But he doesn't take
Does
damage.
Nabbit make it
It's great.
easier or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nabbit can't be
Nabbit
hurt.
doesn't even flinch. Yeah, he just kind of
Oh.
takes a hit and goes.
He's
whatever.
a little brother
Uh,
character or whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
Same with the Yoshis.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
the
Yeah,
Yoshis
yeah,
at least if they hit something they'll go and you can like fall in a pit or something.
Mm.
Oh, okay.
Nabbit doesn't even care. He's
Doesn't
like a
even
Terminator.
flinch.
It's awesome.
Like
Yeah. So
The most
Try
badass.
again.
I needed his
Look.
help. Yeah. But yeah, I think I went into this game with maybe even higher hopes because some of the hyperbolic stuff that was getting thrown around. It's like, oh, it's the best Mario in 30 years. And it's like, okay, yeah, it's pretty great. It's good. It's a really good game. But I
30
don't know that I
years?
can put it on that plateau. Yeah, like Mario World comparisons, and it's like,
Oh.
wow.
Yeah,
No,
that would be
I
about 30
mean,
years.
I definitely understand the
Yeah.
comparisons, but like the best in 30 years is definitely hyperbolic.
it seems, yeah. So maybe that's on me. I think the ultimate test will be if it's replayable like that.
Yeah.
Like if I play it again in a couple years, will I have fun all over again?
Yeah.
But the jury's out on that. So, yeah. But it was pretty great.
I
Elephant
find it
Mario.
funny. I think I have like the lowest opinion of this game out of all of us, and even though like Sean and I tied it in ranking, but I think the lowest of it. I was disappointed by it in a way. It's still a good Mario game, but like I expected more. Like I feel like they retreaded some of their ideas a few too many times, like the marching and the songs. I felt like the wonders didn't go crazy enough. I really felt like some of the more interesting ones didn't come back. Or like if they did come back, it was just like a more frustrating version. Like the wall running was my favorite one by far, and then like that also has possibly the worst stage in the game too because of the Lakitu bounce. I played it single player. I turned off the online because it was giving away all the secret exits and locations, and I didn't
Yeah.
want that. I wanted the fun of like finding it all on my own.
Yeah.
And I did it solo, and then I had to do a multiplayer for the Runaway guys, and that is a completely different experience for that game. I do prefer how this game handles the multiplayer versus how the new Super Mario Brothers games did. I do miss being able to huck my friends into pits just to mess with them, but for the harder stages, thank God it does not let them do that, and we can all stand on the same platforms.
Sure.
Yeah.
I guess I was maybe a little disappointed there wasn't a gnarly, like radical equivalent or whatever. Like you
I mean,
get the
there
Star
kind of
World
was.
equivalent.
Some of the special world stages were pretty brutal, but that star
Yeah.
rating they use is so all over the board too. Like I've played some
Yeah, there were
4s or
like
5s that are
that
like
was a
pieces of
6?
cake.
All right.
Yeah, like it's so weird.
Yeah.
I think
I don't
I
know,
would
basic-
have
yeah.
liked some harder stages. I think my
Yeah.
kind of big knock against it is it's really short. Like
It is really short.
I know I played like a lot of it kind of back to back, but if I go check the Switch, I think it's still like you played 8 hours of this.
Yeah,
and I
sometimes.
saw,
Yeah.
like,
I'm curious now because I did 100% it. Let me boot it up, and I have not played it since.
yeah, I didn't do
I
100%.
jokingly- yeah.
I did probably
Sorry.
like 90, 95-ish, but even then it's like I saw almost everything and it was pretty short. Which is kind of a bummer cuz like Odyssey is long. There is so much in
It's
Odyssey.
a lot of stuff. I replayed
There's
that
a
this
lot-
year too, and
Yeah, like, and I loved Odyssey, so I guess I was just kind of hoping for kind of like the next thing. I do definitely think it's a step forward from the new series because that was just kind of a bummer.
kind of middling. Yeah.
Yeah, like no one regards those well or thinks back on them fondly. And then since then we had like the world, 3D World and 3D Land, and those are fine, but it had been a while since like a really new one. Because we got like the remake of World, I guess. But
Mhm.
yeah, so I guess I was just kind of hoping for more of it. I do like all the gimmicks and stuff, and they are cool. I guess I would have just preferred more stages of that, or even ones like the badge system. Like Paul's right. Yeah, I just use the glide. Like some of those are just
Yeah.
such
Glide
nonsense.
was
It's like
busted.
So
like
good.
I'm never going to use some of these. Like why even give me this? So I almost wish
think
there was like
I
more
primarily
stages.
use that twirl jump where you go up a little
Okay.
bit.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
just found
Yeah,
that was
I mean
helping
that's
me
pretty
out.
much the equivalent of the glide. You get an extra like long jump, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
but some of them where it's
90% of
like,
the
hey, this
levels,
is
I had
lets
the
you
same
like,
one.
yeah, this one lets you like swim faster. It's like, okay, oh, that'll be good for 5% of this game that has water levels.
Yeah.
Like useful. I think I would have preferred, like I really loved the like pin challenges where they're like get
Yeah.
through this thing where you have to like you can only jump when you're falling and stuff. Like those were super interesting. I would have loved more of those because those were also some of the hardest stages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some
I
of those
mean-
were fun.
I would absolutely buy a like stage pack, like a map pack basically. If they were like, here's like 2 more worlds for $10. That would be really cool. I would love that.
That'd be cool.
Sorry, John was
Okay, so-
looking up something.
I
but
can't
yeah.
find it. It's past my top last 20 games I played, so I can't see it without
Oh.
actually putting the cartridge in and loading it up.
It
All
was on, like, I had an extended disappointing list, and it was on there with ends too soon as the only note. So yeah,
Okay,
sure.
it's maybe a little trim, but still fun, you know.
By the way these lists are going, this might be the only game on all 4 of our lists, though.
It might
Oh,
be.
so
Yeah.
consensus.
We'll see. Okay, Nathan, we're on Nathan's number 2, 4.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess this is a little more of a 2 than a 4, I'm gonna say, but because of the math I've introduced into this, I
It's a
have
3.
to reveal my card here.
Yeah.
No, this is where I put Alan Wake 2. It is my runner-up this year.
Okay,
So
Okay.
mine's higher.
okay.
Wow.
Okay.
Wait.
My
then-
number
then
4.
2 or 4.
Who knows? It's
Yeah,
a mystery.
Who knows?
Exactly.
We'll find out shortly. My number 4 is Lies of P.
Sure.
Pretty much for all the same reasons of the surprise. I had a ton of fun the entire way through. It's not a short game, so it is pretty substantial. I want to say I spent 30 plus hours with this little Pinocchio Timothy Chalamet boy. And it's good, man. That like dancer's sword, once I got that, oh man, that equipped with, paired with the like firearm, I was like unbeatable. Like holy smokes, I felt so powerful, and that was great. And when you get to that part in like a Souls, like that's always like the best feeling of like, all right, now I am the deadliest thing in this world. Let's go. So yeah, Lies of P is just really good. It's on Game Pass, which is awesome. So play that for cheap. I recommend Lies of P quite a bit.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the DLC. I want to say that.
Community number 4 was Baldur's Gate 3.
Whoa. Okay.
Number 3, Turbo Overkill. Like I said, this was
Nice.
the year I got into Boomer and Twitch shooters again, and Turbo Overkill is just that cranked up to the max. It's got you doing like silly ass like skateboard style tricks by using your saw blade knee to like cut through enemies. You just get like so much movement options in midair. Stages are nice and open, but they've got secrets hidden everywhere. It just feels so satisfying to play, and it just really rekindled my love for this genre. So
Nice.
I do highly recommend Turbo Overkill. It's just so perfectly stupidly over the top. Every stage just starts in like the dumbest of ways, and it's just like this is exactly the stuff I loved about like Duke Nukem 3D and Unreal Tournament and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's a great game. Turbo Overkill. Very cool. My number 3 is Void Stranger, so we can have that discussion now. Even though there's not really much to discuss because I want people to play that thing, and the more I discuss
know!
it's a spoil. Like so it's a Sokoban style game where you're doing block puzzle stuff, but like that's not what makes it incredible. It's what makes it
No.
engaging and fun. But the secrets in that game are
The
crazy.
secrets, the story. There's
Yeah.
so much hidden everywhere. There's things that you see and you're like, I don't know how to do this. And then you get back to that stage later in a playthrough and you're like, oh, that's what they wanted me to do. I would have had no idea for like 10 hours or anything like that. Like it's you can't talk about it without spoiling things, but like, yeah.
Yeah, that's what's frustrating about it. I guess like what I will say is, okay, at this point, if like that sounds interesting, you should just go play it. Not to get into any spoiler stuff at all, but it is a
Please
game
don't.
that like you go from stage 1 to like whatever stage. I can't even remember how many stages there are. There's a lot of them, and it's one of those games where they kind of expect you to play it multiple times. So you're just like, holy shit, am I actually going to play like 300, 200, whatever amount of stages every fucking time to see all this stuff? And the answer is yes, because they find a way, again, not to spoil it, of how you move around those levels differently so that you can like change the experience up a little bit and like skip certain parts or like do certain parts better. Not to mention the like knowledge that you've gained doing it one time at least already on how some of those puzzles work or whatever. Like it's just really well done. It was so good that it made me want to play their other game that came out earlier called Zero Ranger. And that was
Zero
great.
Ranger's fantastic, by the way.
It was so good. It for the same reason, it's like a really good shmup, and then it just adds a bunch of crazy shit in there as well. Like System Erasure has become one of those studios that if they release something, I'm just buying it. Like straight up. They've done two of the most impressive things I've seen in video games in years this year. Well, not this year, but I've seen them both this year. And people should just buy Void Stranger. It's so good.
All right, I finally got my file for Wonder. 20 hours.
20 hours.
Wow.
But I think
It's a lot of
I think
Wonder.
some of that was me just sitting around on the title screen and walking away from the game. So probably
Oh,
cut
yeah.
that down to more to about 15.
Sure.
Just in disgust.
No, because I have a cat that is a child and requires attention, so I have to go and help him out.
Sure.
Just that's probably like the longest playtime, and you're like the one who likes it the least.
Yeah.
Yep.
I had to do it for work.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
that might color some of it too.
That colors it a little bit.
A
But,
little bit.
I mean, like it's still a fun game.
Okay, my number 3 is Dredge.
Nice.
Nice.
Dredge is all about vibes. You're just a cool fishing guy, fishing for weird fish in a world that is Cthulhu based.
Yep.
It's messed up at night. You don't want to be out on your ship at night. I think it has a really cool look, and the music is eerie and spooky. You get some weird powers of like getting to warp around the area, and you're finding just the craziest NPCs on random rocks and bringing them corrupted fish because they asked for it or whatever. It got DLC recently. I think it was like $3, and that was enjoyable to go back for a couple hours to like that new kind of ice area. Dredge is just a really cool game. I hesitate to call it a cozy game, even though I think kind of mechanically it is cozy, since the vibes of it are just kind of spooky and dark. Like it's a cool Halloween game. And yeah, I had a ton of fun with Dredge.
The way that story ends is great too. Holy crap, that ending is so good. I loved it. Community
Barely
number.
remember the ending. But okay.
It's like the most memorable thing to me. The
Okay.
number 3 game of the year for the community was Marvel's Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, there
Okay.
you go.
Yeah.
All right, my number 2, Pizza Tower.
Yeah. Hell
Nice.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I bounced off this game when it first came out and I first played it.
Me too.
It was so visually busy, so frustratingly like what it wanted versus what I wanted to do. I just did not like it. But then I think a month or two passed and I gave it another chance. I changed the controls slightly to change the launch up move because that was frustrating, and came back to it and just liked it way more than I thought I was going to. It is genuinely fun. It's a great free flow game where you're just like, I just want to zone out and just kind of like do things, and like it's great at that because like to get a perfect rank you have to just do everything in one combo, and that is both frustrating to do and surprisingly fun to do. So if I do have a gripe about the game though, is that I think all the boss fights suck ass except for the last one. I actually really enjoyed the last one, which is weird because it's just the other boss fights,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
But there's something about it that I was actually, okay, you know what? Everything's clicking here. I actually really like the way they did this because it's all tamed, toned down versions of the fights versus
Yeah.
like the way too drawn out single fights. Something about that just clicked with me so much better.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Right
no,
on.
Pizza Tower turned out from something I was going to put on my disappointing list to my number 2. So
Yeah. I mean, I share all your sentiments. I also played that when it came out. It was like, ugh, or whatever. Came back to it for DDP Plus, and I couldn't stop playing it. I was like, oh, I get it. I'm actually addicted to this. I get it. My number 2, to the surprise of nobody, is Resident Evil 4 Remake that came out
wow.
this year.
There
It's...
has to be one on the list.
Huh?
I mean, there had to be a Resident Evil on the list somewhere.
Yeah, I think it's a rule.
There always has to be.
Yep.
There probably is a year where there isn't, but I'd have to look. Yeah, I mean, it's the game that I was like mediocre on before, just done better, like in a new engine, and like it's just great. Actually, the thing that really put it over the top for me, honestly, is the Ada campaign, the Separate Ways thing that came out later in the year, was so like well realized and fun that I was just like, oh, this is actually a full package now. Like some of the stuff that was missing from the base game, they put into here. It makes some sense. They give her more of a role. It's too bad I'm not a fan of her voice acting in that, because I think it's pretty bad, but like that character is great. Yeah, that and the DLC are just such a tight package. That thing is so good.
Nathan, you should
Wait.
save your one.
Right? Yeah, I'm
'Cause
gonna
your next
save
thing is
my
one. You
if
should
I
save
could.
I also think
Yeah.
we should do the community predictions now.
I agree.
Because it's once I say my two, it's going to put a lot of
Oh.
pieces into place.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, first of all, I'll say the community number 2 was Mario Bros. Wonder,
Yep.
which probably
Okay.
lets you guess what the first one is.
What number 1 is? Yeah.
You can
Okay.
use that vine like a grapple. It's cool.
That
All
one's
right.
great. Yeah, but do
That's
more
one of
with
my favorite
that, yeah.
badges.
Absolutely.
So who's who do you want me to give you first for predictions?
Probably Sean.
Let's just
You
go
gotta
in the
say-
circle, I guess. Oh,
in the
whatever.
circle? Okay.
Okay. So, John, you had
Yep.
24 different games predicted, the most by double of anybody else, because nobody knew what the hell you were going to choose.
Hell yeah, baby.
But the most people
Mysterious.
at 9 votes landed on Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, so we know they're wrong.
Ooh.
Okay.
Do you want? I have a few more. The next one
Yeah,
down.
give me a couple more.
The next one down was Tears of the Kingdom with 6 votes.
What?
And the next one down from
I
there.
complained about that game nonstop. Why did you think that had a chance? It didn't even make the top 10.
And the number 3 choice was Pizza Tower. So they weren't even close to your number 1 this year.
Wow, no, they
Well,
were
it was
way
number
off.
2.
Like
That
I
one's
am
close.
amazed they paid
Top
attention
Pizza
to me
Tower.
not liking Wonder that much, but apparently they forgot I hated Tears.
Yeah. Yeah.
You want to do the other predictions, or John? Do you want to say your number 1? How do you guys?
Well,
think
you
we
haven't even
should
said
do
your
it?
number 2 yet, so let's do the.
I know, but
prediction.
once I say it, it's going to kind of confirm a lot of
It's gonna
things. So that's why
click
I'm
into
holding off.
place.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, I get why now. Okay, yeah, sure, I'll say my number 1.
Okay.
So this is a series that I've known about for years, and I never got into at all. But as a casual fan, I was like, I love the idea behind this. And while the
Assassin's Creed.
studio and you did it, you figured it out.
Mirage.
And while the studio got known and more popular for different things, the fact that the series came back was what meant the most to me, and I finally got to play it and the other games in the series, and I fell in love with it. My number 1 this year is Armored Core 6: Fires of Rubicon.
Oh.
That
Whoa.
was
So
their
you
number
did
4
go back and play
choice.
some of it?
Their number 4 choice.
Yep, by 1
I had
vote.
a feeling.
So you got to go
Armored
back and
Core
play
6.
some more of 6 because I know you were wanting to. When we talked
Yeah,
a
because
couple
you
times.
have to like beat that game multiple times because there's different paths and there's new fights after you beat the game and all this other shit and like, sure, but like, I just love the feeling, the control, the customization. It ticks all the boxes. It gets the ADHD brain going. It's just so stupid fun. Every time I play it, I have a stupid ass grin on my face. It just feels so fun and so satisfying. Even if the bosses get frustrating, it just feels like I love this. This is exactly what I want in a game right now, right this moment. So that's why it hits the number 1 mark for me.
Wow.
Nice.
From Software finally did it. That's great.
That game is really good.
Because last year, Elden Ring was 8th or something?
Yeah, I think actually. Let me look that up because I like Elden Ring was just like, I want to like this. I get why people like it, but it pisses me off. Yeah, Elden Ring was number
But you
8.
still-
Nathan remembered exactly.
You still played
Yeah.
through it twice though.
Once and a half.
So-
I never finished the other run.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Hey, Paul, what did they guess
Paul's
for you?
number 1?
They
Okay.
guessed. Well,
Baldur's
okay.
Gate 3, I assume.
So the third
I
one
would
they
also
guessed for
guess
me was 5 votes, Alan Wake 2, which was wrong.
Mm.
Their second guess was 10 votes, was Resident Evil 4. And the number 1
Very
vote
Close.
with an overwhelming 29 votes, they knew that Baldur's Gate 3 is my game of the year.
Yeah, that was an easy
This is
one.
my number 2 game of the year.
Okay.
And that's why he held off. That's why he held off.
Yeah. Okay. Baldur's Gate 3, as a fan of Dungeons and Dragons and somebody who is old and can't get a group together every week to do a 6-hour session or whatever I would want to do, is just the perfect game. Like, it is a game with a really good story, great dialogue, good voice acting, just a giant world where I can have my D&D campaign at any time for hours and hours. 120 to be exact so far for one playthrough. And like with plenty of stuff I haven't seen, plenty of stuff I probably will never get to see unless I look it up specifically. I haven't even done a playthrough with other people yet, which you can do. That game is like genre bending and changing in a way that games usually aren't. And it's insane.
It is definitely pretty spectacular. I didn't even finish the first part because I've been wanting to just start over and do it again in a completely different way.
You should.
I'm even thinking, yeah, I definitely think I should. I'm even like planning to just like get it on the Xbox, but I'm just kind of waiting for a sale because I already bought it full price on PC. It didn't run amazing on the Steam Deck, but the fact that it was definitely playable on the Steam Deck was very cool. Like it does so many cool things. Even if you're like not a D&D person like myself, just the characters are so interesting and the world they set up is so cool, and the amount of options you have is pretty like spectacular. Like it's a really like tremendous game. I have very similar feelings about it as like Elden Ring, where it's just the sheer like scale of what they pulled off is kind of astonishing.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's just so good. All right, Nathan, yours had a thing on here that was so specific that I pulled it because it made me laugh.
Okay.
So this was only one vote, but I'll read it to you. Alan Wake, not
Slayer's
2,
X?
but the original. That's all written down as the entry. So I was
Very
like,
interesting. Very interesting.
I was like, that's great.
I
That's
did play remastered this year, so but I didn't throw it in there. Okay.
Okay, their number one guess at 17 votes was Alan Wake 2.
Pretty close. It was number 2, but yeah.
So I don't know this to be sure, but their number 2 guess at 6 votes was Baldur's Gate 3. Did you play this at all?
I haven't played it.
Okay.
I haven't even played it.
I think they're right with their number 3 pick with 4 votes. Pikmin 4.
Yeah, they figured me out.
Okay.
They know I'm just such a yeah. Ochi is great because for the first time in all 4 games, I felt like the combat was like easy and fun. Like I was just wrecking stuff in a way I never was able to do before, which is great because I've lost so many Pikmin to stupid things over those 3 games, but this time I felt like I was kicking ass. It was great. So
Nice.
I don't know. It has some coziness to it. It's still kind of a cozy, fun game where you're just rescuing people and finding Game Boy Advances and whatever. The biggest disappointment in that game, I will say, there's no GameCube. You don't find a GameCube in that game. It's crazy.
Okay.
You get a Wave Bird. You get Wave Race. But what am I gonna play it on? You know. So I don't know.
True.
You know. Hopefully in the DLC or something if they put something out. But yeah, I really like Pikmin 4. I really had a happy time with that game. So
Nice.
number 1
Nice.
for me.
All right, Sean, going from 3rd to 1st for you. At 9 votes in 3rd place, Baldur's Gate 3 was the guess. At 12 votes, Alan Wake 2 was the second highest.
Okay. Well, if you've been paying attention,
I think
You've probably figured it out.
I think they might have nailed it because I haven't heard you talk about this game yet. But at 19 votes at first, they have Marvel Spider-Man 2.
okay. So Paul was not paying close enough attention.
I was
My number 1 game of the year is Alan Wake 2.
oh, okay.
What? Oh man, that's crazy.
Um,
No, yeah.
Hey,
I thought you were
Spider-Man's
talking
fine,
about it,
but
honestly, that's why I was starting to do the Spider-Man motion. So
like I said earlier, Alan Wake 2 is higher on my list.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I was following along. But
Yeah,
okay.
someone read the homework.
I ain't going to school
Alan-
no more. I'm done.
True,
True.
fair enough.
Yeah.
I got my
Um,
degree.
Alan Wake 2 is a horror game, which kind of made this like a weird one for me to put up there because there's a lot of this game where I was just like actively wanting to get through it because I did not like the emotions it was making me have. But as an Alan Wake fan, as a Remedyverse fan, like this is like catnip. Like if you're a fan of Alan Wake, they know exactly what you wanted to see. There's FMV in there, which does a lot for me. It's goofy, it's weird. Like Remedy toes this incredible line of like, we're gonna make it dark and serious, but also like really fucking stupid. and like they
Yeah,
know
well-
exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
Um,
No, that was an
and-
important rock opera. That you needed
yeah,
that.
exactly. And then the rock opera is so spectacular. Like holy shit. And then they did it at the Game Awards, and that was
And then
incredible
Sam
to
Lake
see.
was out there dancing, and it was just like, this
Yeah,
is
like,
really important.
honestly, it's like, Sam Lake looks like he's having so much fun with this game. He got to make his dream game, and it's just like, man, I'm so happy for you, dude. And then that makes me happy. And so the whole time I was just like, wow, they made like the game they wanted to. You could just feel it. They made the game they wanted to from probably the inception of Remedy. Like,
Yeah,
I'm so
there's
curious
a lot of
what-
like Max Payne, like there's Alex Casey stuff. Yeah,
Yep.
it felt like their
Yeah.
whole universe stitching together. I just like how Control plays more, so that's the only reason
Yep.
it's not my number one.
That's why it's
but
my number 5, because I hate playing this game. I love everything about it except the actual act where I have to put a controller in my hand and play it.
So yeah, like going back to the first game too, I was kind of like, I think I like this combat more, So the joke thing about Alan Wake 1, kind of true, like that
Oh.
was in some ways superior.
No, and like from like a playing perspective, like I prefer the genre that Control is in.
Yeah.
yeah,
I
that
put
too.
Alan, but knowing this, I put Alan Wake on easy, so I was not frustrated, and I was able to get through the parts that were annoying and scary faster, and that's exactly what I wanted. So I had the experience I wanted with Alan Wake 2.
yeah.
And so it just like personally, it checked a lot of boxes for me. And yes, I agree.
Even
It's this
with-
kind of
yeah. Sorry.
it's this culmination of kind of all their stuff coming together, which makes me so curious. Like, what is Control 2 then? Because they already kind of hit like what I would have assumed was their pinnacle of what they wanted. What's next? So like, I'm so curious.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, I was still jumping at every little Control nod in there, like just like, oh my god, it was Dr. Darling, oh my god, and like just whatever.
Yeah, oh,
but
yeah.
I with previous Remedy games, I've kind of warmed up to them more as I play them again. Like some of the mechanics just fit better, and I know what I'm expecting. So I liked Control when I first played it, but I loved it the second time I played it. I'm kind of hoping the same thing happens with Alan Wake 2 this year with DLC and the final
Sure.
draft and everything.
Yeah.
Like maybe I'll figure out how to play it in a more fun way this time. But yeah, I was definitely having some frustrating combat experiences, and like it was really the same way with Control when I first played it. It was like I love the lore, I love the world, but like I'm dying a lot and I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Alan Wake 2 had a little bit of that, but the highs are so high. Like it was tough
yeah.
to put it at number 2. It was just that the smoothness of my Pikmin experience was the only thing that edged it out. But I would say it's probably less impressive in a lot of ways.
Pikmin?
I just Pikmin.
Yeah.
I'll say Remedy maybe deserved the best direction at the Game Awards. So but yeah, no, it's quite a thing. But now my expectations are unreasonable for Control 2. So that's gonna be tough.
Sure.
Yep.
Fair enough.
Altered world events.
Any guesses to
but
the
yeah.
community game of the year? Seems like it should be pretty
Did
obvious.
we do the community number 2?
Yeah,
We
it was
did,
it was
yeah.
Mario Bros.
was
Wonder.
Wonder.
Who's Wonder? Okay.
We already said Zelda for them, right? Because if we did,
Nope.
it's Baldur's Gate.
No,
we
it's-
didn't say Zelda. I thought
Redfall.
for-
It's
It's gotta be
Zelda.
Redfall.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Dang.
Redfall.
For some reason, I thought we
Redfall.
said Zelda at 4. Apparently, I really wasn't paying attention because I was like, I thought Zelda was at number 4 for them.
Is Redfall even on here
I thought-
at all?
No, I
No
don't-
way. No way.
I
It
didn't
is not.
vote, so probably not.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
they,
is.
exactly. All
It's
right.
like when I was waiting for Far Cry Primal. Like I don't know. I can't explain it.
Uh-huh.
We're gonna do a few honorable mentions. Each of us have probably 3-ish, somewhere around there. Some games that didn't hit the top 10, but we wanted to call them out for one reason or another. Mine aren't exactly ranked in these.
Yeah, mine aren't either.
If you guys rank them, that's
Yeah.
totally fine. John, give us one of yours.
F-Zero 99. Pleasant surprise. Big F-Zero fan, but all it really did was make me play GX instead.
Ooh,
Nice.
okay.
I kind of thought that would be on your top 10, honestly. I was surprised.
thought so.
It
too.
was, and it got shoved off when I got reminded of Void Stranger.
Ooh. Sick.
Okay.
Brutal.
Suika game, for the reasons that John and I talked about earlier. That game was just super fun and great.
Can I kick open the door to the previous years or no? Is it strictly this year's
2023 games. Nope.
There's-
All right,
yeah, it was
all
the
right.
game of the year discussion.
Okay, I'll go Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom then because Brittany loves it and happy wife, happy life.
Oh.
So, yeah,
Cute.
Not
she
wrong.
thinks it's great.
That's pretty great.
Yeah.
I will say the finals. I've been playing a ton of this over the break. This was a fun
Nice.
little drop at the Game Awards. This is currently like my go-to like multiplayer with a friend game. It's hectic, it's sporadic, and it is extremely fun when you are like holding down the vault and the floor from underneath you it like, collapses and then the roof falls on your head and then you're just physically trapped waiting for someone to kill you because you're just stuck there. There's so much rubble around and it's a new fight every single time. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
Do we have community for this one?
No, not for
I
this
think
one.
so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Double Dragon Gaiden: Rise of the Dragons, a new Double Dragon game with co-op that actually is a lot of fun. It did not have online play out of the gate. I don't think it still does. I don't know if it was planned at some point, but I played it through Steam Remote Play. It's just really satisfying. The combo system is like super connected and diverse. You can like chain into other things so much. It's just like it's genuinely and actually fun beat 'em up to play with roguelike elements. Just had a blast going through it. Downside was Pop and I beat it our first try. We literally beat the entire game.
Congrats.
So short. Yeah.
Yeah, so short. I mean, because there's other difficulties, but like we did it on normal, like no problem.
Gotcha. I put down here Armored Core for the reasons John said. Also, it's the FromSoft game this year, so I feel like Resident Evil, I'm obligated to shout it out
At least tip your hat.
It was on my top
Recognize it
10
in some-
for a long time, and then it wasn't. So
Okay.
Hey, Rocket Racing. Is
Yeah.
technically part of
Yeah,
Fortnite.
yeah.
yeah,
But it did get me
That's
to
really fun.
install that thing. Yeah.
Okay.
And that kind of webbed out into me playing a bunch of dumb stuff in Fortnite this year. So I got
Nice.
2
Fair enough.
victory royales in Zero
Nice,
Build,
congrats.
unranked, so I'm not that great. But I did save one
Against
of the replays.
bots.
No, I hope there were people. They, I don't know. They seemed like.
Do you want me
people.
to? I can tell you. I can tell you. if you
Okay,
want.
okay.
Did you get it? Did you get a physical crown when you beat them?
Oh wait, like as a oh, like the
Yeah.
glowing thing over you?
Yeah.
Like in the mail?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
And there were human players in that.
Okay, great. So that was exciting. The racing, I kind of wish there was just more because
Yeah.
I played a bunch of it a couple nights and then it's just like, yeah, I kind of saw all the tracks, so I'll try festival and whatever. It at least got me to look around at some of that stuff. I played Lego for a little while. So Fortnite asterisk Rocket Racing, honorable mention. I was also playing as Alan Wake that whole time, so it was fun. I just can dance and do dumb shit. So yeah.
Final Fantasy 16. This is 70% of a pretty great game. The bosses are clearly like the standout, and it goes to some pretty ridiculous places. It's the closest thing we're probably going to get to an Asura's Wrath 2, which does a lot for me. I wish the story was good. I don't think I could even call it good. Which is a bummer because it starts pretty good and then it just like falls flat halfway through and it's just nothing. It's kind of weird. They like stopped writing, or it almost feels like. It gets ugly in the second half. They're just like, what if everything was kind of brown? So that was like a weird thing to do. It's such a weird game. Like I had a fun time with it, but it just shoots itself in the foot in the second half in such a bizarre way that I couldn't justify putting it on my list.
Okay.
Gunbrella.
Nice.
Really, really fun Metroidvania done by Doinksoft, the guys who did Gato Roboto. It has such fun movement with the Gunbrella. Cool little like quirks on how you do the combat, like you can like parry bullets and stuff like that. It's just a genuinely fun, interesting game. So
the last game I have written down here is Homebody. This is a horror game, kind of like a clock tower, where you're in a cabin or a house or whatever with some buddies to watch the comets or whatever in the night sky. And somebody comes in and kills all of you guys, and you wake up again, like at the very beginning of the night, and it is basically Groundhog's Day, where you're trying to piece together what's going on and why you are reliving this night where you get murdered over and over again. So it's more of a puzzle game than I would say horror game, but that game is super cool and didn't get nearly enough talk, I feel, for how cool it actually is.
Sounds like Happy Death Day then, if you're getting murdered.
It is kind of like that, but like with a
okay.
group of friends or whatever, in a not a cabin. It's like somebody's house or whatever. So it's neat.
Okay. I'm gonna go with that Xbox port of GoldenEye, because I played that quite a bit, and I guess for the first time I was really going for like the time challenges in some levels, which I thought was fun. Specifically Statue Park or whatever. Like, I don't know if it's just there's no fog on the Xbox version, so it's like, I can finally play this level and like see where I'm going. This is great.
Yeah.
Look at this draw distance or whatever. So I finally enjoyed that level in the game, which was exciting. No multiplayer in that version though, and the control scheme on the Switch is so weird. So I didn't get.
That's right.
All I
they
could
split
have
up
out
some
of
of the
that.
features.
Yeah.
It's such a
So
weird
if I want to play
thing.
online multiplayer, I can, but I have to figure out how to make the controls not insane, and I just didn't do that on the Switch. So yeah.
Surprisingly
that
easy to
soundtrack's
fix the
really
controls
good.
though.
I watched a thing, and it's just nuts to me that they didn't just do that for me. I don't know. Because even in the Xbox version, you even like when you pause, you see an Xbox controller there, and you're like, "Nice, good job, guys! You modeled a new controller for this game."
I mean, it's
bonus
just an emulator on the Switch, so
yeah, you know. So of the ports, I guess I like the Xbox one more, but oh well.
Nice.
Yep.
My last honorable mention is Immortals of Avium, a game that did not sell well. Nobody played, and I think like tanked the studio, or they had to like lay off like 40% of their staff. Unfortunately, I think this game is like pretty decent, and it's just a bummer like no one's talking about it. Like I think it's a really good like B tier game. This year was just so strong with games. I could have easily seen this on my top 10. Personally, it was a bummer that I had the weird like lighting bug, so I played like 70% of it in the dark almost. And luckily they fixed that near the end of it. But I do think it's a cool game, and if you can get it like on a sale, like there's some pretty fun times to be had.
Nice. All right,
pile of shame. Games you wish you played.
Oh boy,
Mine aren't ranked. There's
Mine are
3. You're
ranked,
picking
but
3
it doesn't
games.
matter.
Because normally this list is like a million games long.
Yeah.
But we're shortening it to 3. Yeah, if you have it ranked, that's totally fine. You can say in that order.
Good.
But I'm just saying mine.
Good,
because
because I have 24, so I have to figure out how to shrink this down to 3.
Okay. Do you not want to go first then?
I might need a minute.
Okay, I'll go
Okay,
first then.
Paul. Yeah.
I really wanted to play that Lords of the Fallen that came out, the like reboot that they tried, and I just never did. I don't know if it just came out at a time where I didn't want to play it or whatever, but I generally like those types of games. I found the first Lords of the Fallen kind of mediocre, so I was excited to see what they did with this, with the whole like, when you die, you go to like the afterlife version of the world, the dark world or whatever, and you can like switch in between them, kind of like Link to the Past-ish in a lot of ways, and there's some gameplay revolved around that sort of stuff. It seemed cool. It got some okay talk from people. I just never got around to checking it out, and I kind of wish I had.
I mean, the big one for me is Baldur's Gate 3. It's not really my genre, so I'm kind of worried, but sounds intriguing.
Oh, you mean amazing games that are mind-bending, aren't you?
Extremely well-written games with
that
beautiful
style
characters.
RPG. I'm a little scared, you know.
No, that's fair.
There's
yeah.
There's a Powerball bounce that's possible, but maybe I'll have fun. Maybe I'll, I like that Dungeons and Dragons movie, so I'm trying to channel that energy into this game.
All right, sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure that'll work. Yeah.
Similar, right?
All right, one of my pile of shame. I really wish I had gotten to Mortal Kombat 1. It just was like never the right time, especially since those games usually don't last too long for me. So I would almost prefer to like pick it up on a sale, since I only really care about the story. So that's just kind of where I'm sitting at with that.
I'll also agree with Mortal Kombat 1. A big fan of the series, but for some I slipped off on 11, and I felt like I can't play 1 without having played through 11, so that kind of put me in a
Yeah.
weird spot there. Another one for me to kind of get us caught back up. Slay the Princess. This came
Yeah.
out, I think,
Yeah.
like a month or two ago, and it looks so interesting and intriguing watching part of a playthrough from one of my streamer friends, and I just really wish I'd actually given it the time. I think it would have been top 10 material.
Yeah.
A weird game. Yep, it's cool.
The number 3 for the community was Alan Wake 2.
Okay.
My next one I had here was Sea of Stars. This has been installed on my Switch since it came out. Just never got around to playing it. And I like Chrono Trigger and old school JRPGs, and this one looks incredible. So kind of wish I had just, played that at some point. But I didn't really play the Switch much after I was done with Wonder. It just kind of played everything on PC after that, really.
I also have Sea of Stars on mine, so I'll say my piece. It's been installed since it kind of dropped on Game Pass. It's just hard for me to get to since it's like, do you have the time for an RPG right now? And this year it was pretty rare that I had time for an RPG right now. So I do want to get to it. I was just thinking because it's on Xbox Game Pass Cloud, but it doesn't have touch controls, or otherwise I would have loved to have played that on my trip coming up, but it doesn't, unfortunately, and I'm not bringing an extra controller.
Yeah.
But eventually, I keep hearing some great things about it.
Hi-Fi Rush for me, it's been there on Game Pass the whole time. I could have installed it multiple times. I think I found the trailer a little brash in a weird way. I was like, this main character seems like an idiot, but apparently this game's great.
He kind of is an idiot.
He
though.
is, for sure.
So I'm probably gonna play both Evil Withins before I do that, and then get that full Whiplash effect. So it's like, wow, this is so different than their other games. I'll fully get to have that experience. So
you don't need to play Evil Within if you don't want to. I'm just saying.
I started to, and it seemed cool. So I don't
Okay.
know.
Okay.
I might go back to that.
Okay.
But yeah.
I just did my Sea of Stars thing, so let's go to John.
Oh, I thought we were
Okay.
going to community and then back to me.
Oh, sorry. Yes, community. Yes, you're right.
Sea of Stars was their number 2.
Oh, weird. Okay.
All
What a
right.
coincidence.
One more from me, Dave the Diver. Everyone I've
Yeah.
heard has been
Yeah.
praising this game, and it seems like it's up my alley. I like my 2D games, so just picked
Yeah.
it up.
It's good.
Never got around to installing it.
Sure. The top one for me was Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty, because I was one of the 2077 apologists when that game was absolute dog shit, so I want to be able to enjoy the benefits of people actually liking it and now being able to talk with me about it. And also seeing Idris Elba and kind of how they change all that stuff. But I'm not going to play that without probably starting a new character and getting kind of back into the tree and the skill tree and kind of knowing what I want to build, because there's no way I'll know how to do any of that stuff right now. I just never got around to it.
Yep.
I guess for me, Pizza Tower, but it's a Wario Land game, you say? I don't know if that means anything to me.
Pizza Tower is basically Wario Land 4, so
Or
Okay.
specifically, yeah.
yeah.
All right. I think I was expecting a different manner of platforming action, but it sure looks zany, and I like the food it's about. So maybe that'll translate. Yeah. It's on my wish list. I've been curious about it for a little while since it started getting traction, but this Lethal Company also
Lethal Company's
looks
pretty
exciting.
fun.
Yeah.
You just need the
Looks
right people
weird.
to play with.
Paul, are you the right person to play Lethal Company with?
I've been playing it, man. I don't know where the fuck you've been.
All right.
To be fair, I never reached out to you, but
Okay. I think it's like $12, so it's hard to balk at. But okay.
Yeah.
My last pile of shame is Bayonetta Origins, Cereza, and the Lost Demon. I heard this game is really cool, and
It's pretty interesting, yeah.
yeah, so I've had it for a while, but I keep just saying I should play through Bayonetta 3 first. So the fact of having to kind of play through a whole game before I get to this one just keeps pushing it further away, because I have Bayonetta 3 as well. But this one, I guess just because kind of nobody was really talking about it, but the few people who were singing its praises, kind of really intrigued me.
It's
so
a
I don't know,
very,
eventually,
very different game than
Yeah,
Bayonetta
yeah.
is.
And then for community, top one, which is more votes than 2 and 3 put together, was Baldur's Gate 3.
Okay.
Not surprised.
All right. And our last category is 2023's 2024 Game of the Year. This will dive nicely into our predictions coming up. But John, what is your Game of the Year going to be next year?
I've got 2 games written down, but I'm leaning more towards one than the other,
Okay,
and that
pick
is
the one then.
Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. Comes
Oh.
out next week. So, but the reviews are looking pretty good for it. What I played of it at PAX was really fun. My only concern is it's the beginning of the year, and usually the shit that actually makes my top 10, if not my number 1, is stuff that's not announced till the second half of the year. So
Sure.
I'm expecting this to probably barely hit the top 10. But it's unfortunately the best guess I have right now. My other guess would have been Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, but considering how I kind of bounced off Remake, I'm not holding my breath on that one.
That's probably going to be Brittany's Game of the Year, but she's not here.
Sure.
Okay.
So
Paul.
I mean, but I was thinking between Hades 2 and Rebirth. It's probably going to be Rebirth, though. The way I felt about Remake, like that's one of my favorite games. So just more of that.
Kate Sith is going to be there, so
Yeah, it's over.
Yeah.
Exactly.
maybe Vincent Valentine even.
No,
you know?
for sure.
Did-
He's been shown.
Yeah, I named a cat.
Kate
after
Sith
that
has been
character,
shown.
so-
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Kate Sith was in the first one, so.
Yeah.
Well,
Haven't they shown everyone now? Like, hasn't everyone shown up?
Yeah.
The Sid they've shown as well.
Yep. They shown him.
Yeah,
yeah.
all the main characters.
Yep.
What if there's a new character and they deviate from the timeline?
I hope they do.
Anyway.
Again.
I mean, they already have.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. For me, I have Dragon's Dogma 2 written here. I'm
Oh,
really
yeah.
hopeful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I kind of got into that first one eventually, and that's probably going to be a weird game. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of intrigued. So yeah, Capcom bringing their big money to climbing on creatures. It's good. It's good stuff.
And my prediction is Hades 2.
All right.
Okay.
Did we
Hades-
write
Hades one
down
is awesome.
our previous ones? Are we going to read that out here in the future predictions, or are we going to do we have to go back
Oh.
and look at them? Because I found what I wrote down.
I
I
definitely have what I
remember
wrote
some of
down.
mine. Oh wait, for
I can
games?
find mine.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we should
last
say
year
if-
we did this
yeah.
exact same thing. We wrote down
Yeah,
what we
yeah,
thought
yeah.
was going to be our game of the year this year.
Okay.
We should.
So,
Okay.
And I doubt I
wrote-
chose what I wrote, but
I had 2
What did you
entries
pick?
written down for mine. My game of the year guess was Tears of the Kingdom, and we know how well that worked out. And my honorable guess was Sea of Stars, which didn't even get played. So,
Paul, do you have yours?
I do. Oh, this is sad. My top 3 were Payday 3, Starfield, and Resident Evil 4 Remake.
oh, well, one of the 3 made it.
Oh, that did not age well. Ugh.
Ooh.
one of them though, yeah, that's
It was my number 2, so
Something.
close.
I don't.
Nathan,
I
do you have
don't
yours?
mine. No,
You don't have yours. Okay. And then mine was Tears of the Kingdom, which ended up being number 5. So
Mhm.
kind of
Hey, yours at
ish
least ended up on
close.
your list.
Yeah. Paul was the closest. One of his was number 2, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Community prediction was Final Fantasy 7.
Okay.
Which never even came out.
Oh, Rebirth.
All right.
For-
For
Last
next year,
segment.
For next year.
Yeah, yeah.
Last segment. We'll revisit the predictions that we wrote down,
Yeah.
and we'll make
new
some more.
ones.
For some reason, I think, did we come with predictions last time? Because I have some written down here.
I don't have any written down.
You have some written
Okay.
down? Oh.
Yeah,
okay.
I don't. Okay. Well,
Oh, wow.
let's see what you have.
So the
Okay,
first
sorry. I found my predictions actually. Can I say them?
Okay.
Or
Yeah.
number 1, Pikmin 4, so I was right. Number 2,
Wow.
Alan Wake 2, and
Wow.
number 3, Forspoken. So
Oh man.
Ooh.
All right.
Well, 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Yeah, not
That's
bad.
pretty good,
Yeah.
actually. You got your top 2.
He got his right though. That's the only person who did it.
Yeah. Good work. Okay. Predictions from last year. Let's see how good we were. Valve makes a new Steam Deck.
Hey, sort of.
Nathan, John, and I said yes. Sean, you said no.
I would say
And he's the one who bought the new one.
I'm the one who bought the new one.
So yeah. I guess yes, probably.
Yeah, I think I would say yes in the spirit of that. Yeah, happened.
Okay. Nintendo makes a new Switch. Releases a new Switch.
Keep moving it forward.
So John said
Well,
yes.
what
We
did
all
we
said
predict?
no.
Cool games. So that
Okay,
was
so John
great.
was wrong then.
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
keep moving it forward.
So yes again.
I think we should push that one forward and make another prediction. I'm going to switch mine to yes.
I'm on team
For
yes
this
again. Yeah.
this next year. Yeah, I'll say yes.
I feel like I said I was
Yeah.
probably going to be like, I predicted it'll get announced this year. I don't know if I said it would get committed to release, but this time I think it announced and release happens this year.
Actually, I'll say no.
I
because don't
vaguely
believe in
remember
Nintendo.
I vaguely remember this. In the chat, someone said, "I wonder if Nathan will double down on the Advance Wars China War thing."
Yeah, we're getting there. Don't worry. Don't worry. We're getting there. But because
I mean, it came out, so
I would bring that
yeah.
up, but first we have to talk about Matthew Perry gets really into Starfield, and because of it, makes headlines. But
Yeah, I know.
Timing,
Wow.
So,
timing.
okay, but listen, this is how I wrote it down, and how I wrote it down is shortened, so technically it's right. I wrote Matthew Perry gets into Starfield, makes headlines. He made headlines.
Oh my god!
Oh, Paul.
We don't know if he got into Starfield, though. We all said no except
You're right.
Nathan. But Nathan's caveat is yes, but only on Instagram or some dumb shit.
is the only clue about the Starfield side of the story. Yeah, as soon as that news happened, I felt really bad. It's like I have somehow cursed Matthew Perry.
Yeah. Yeah.
So apologies to Friends fans and Whole 9 Yards fans.
It's all
you
Nathan.
know.
Holy
It's all
smokes.
Nathan.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Okay.
So I don't have any Friends cast predictions. It's too dangerous.
Okay. Next one was, will the Microsoft Activision bio go through in 2023? We all said
I
yes.
have this written down.
Except no, said Nathan, because Sony's going
Oh.
to bone it up because old politicians don't understand games.
They tried, but it
They
happened
tried.
anyway.
So
It
we were
happened,
right
yep.
except Nathan.
I was
Yep.
wrong.
Yeah.
Yep.
Next, new PS5 version, slim model of some sort. I said yes, you all said no.
And we were all wrong, except for you.
And I'm the one with it.
Did it
Yeah.
come out?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
It came out,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
It came out with Spider-Man Modern Warfare 3.
Okay.
Next up was Advanced Wars gets pushed back again because of a new conflict. It was
there were new
close.
conflicts. this
It
year,
was close.
so-
Yeah. We all said no except Nathan, who made the prediction, so his was a default yes that it was going
No,
to
as
Yeah.
if it wasn't coming out, or no, a new conflict wasn't going to happen.
It was going to get pushed back again. It was his.
I don't
And we all said
right,
no.
and right. You're saying the chat said it was like I did probably imply China, but it wasn't.
I'm
So
pretty
if I
sure you
left it
literally
open now,
stated China.
on there. It was like,
Yeah.
hey, this Taiwan saber rattling that's going on.
I do, yeah. I do remember
Okay.
you kind of implying it, I think, as well.
yeah, I'm just gonna leave that. I hope
Don't-
this year's peaceful.
let's not push
Yeah.
let's not push that one forward, yeah.
Okay.
We don't have to. The game's out.
That's a good
And
point.
had no impact on conflicts around the world.
Okay, Game Pass raises its price by $5. We all said yes, except Nathan, who said yes, but it'll be $10 they raise it by.
Did it go up?
So-
Maybe
raise it?
It did go up, but it was just a couple dollars. It was not $5. It was.
It
not
wasn't
that
even
much.
$5. Oh, okay.
It wasn't. It was like 3 or something. Like, because I think it's 18 now for like Ultimate, so I think it went from like 15 to 18.
Oh, okay.
So we're all wrong, but
we're all
Nathan's the
wrong.
most wrong.
I was the most wrong.
Sure.
Okay. It's pretty pessimistic last year. Jeez.
In the same vein, Gold goes away. Xbox Gold.
Didn't it?
I think it's still there, isn't it?
We all said
Well,
yes.
so they did it. They introduced Game Pass Core. I just don't remember if Gold is totally gone or not.
Yeah, I don't know.
See what happens if I search Xbox Live. Okay, so it says Xbox Live Gold is now Xbox Game Pass Core.
Okay.
So I would say Gold is gone.
All right.
Okay, so yes, we're all right then. Hell yeah.
So yeah.
This kind of goes into the next part too. Game Pass gets a tier edition, which you all said no, and I said yes.
I guess technically because
Yeah.
they put Core. So yeah,
I was
okay.
looking at Core. You can play Psychonauts 2 with Core. So, you know.
Yeah, you can play a bunch. There's like 40 games on there or something like that.
Yeah.
It's most of the first party stuff.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure this is a Nathan one, so you're gonna have to explain what you meant, because I just wrote down going to be hard for Tintin fans in 2023.
Yes. Okay. There was a Cigars of the Pharaoh game that was coming out,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I thought it would bring
I think
new
it came out.
scrutiny.
I think it did actually come out.
It did, but only on PS4, so I have no idea how
oh,
it is.
that's pretty hard for Tintin fans if they
that's
want to
pretty
play
hard,
it.
right?
Yeah.
They can't play Tintin Cigars of the Pharaoh on anything new, so
We all said
You can play
yes.
PS5 games on a PS4.
yeah.
You can play
Also,
PS4
those
games
new
on PS5.
movies haven't come out, so I'm saying it's been a tough year for Tintin fans.
We all said yes except Sean, who said no.
Okay.
I thought it was going to be a good year for Tintin. Oh, okay.
I guess.
Yeah,
There was a
yes, you're a
follow-up.
big Tintin fan.
Tintin game good? Question mark. We all said no.
Yeah,
What's the Metacritic?
I haven't
on
checked it out. I think the jury's out on that one.
I'll bring it
Wait.
up. Hang on.
Okay, well, we have to see. What do we
Cigars of the
consider
Pharaoh,
good?
right?
Let's say anything over 80, then we're wrong. If it's over
There's
80,
Take
no
over
way.
7.
I bet it doesn't even have enough reviews to chart.
yeah, maybe.
It doesn't. It says this apparently came out in November. Okay, there's one review from IGN France.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
40.
got a 40.
40. All
What a
right.
disappointment. We had high hopes for Tintin reporter
We were
Cigars
right.
of the Pharaoh.
it was bad.
It's a bad year for Tintin fans.
Yeah.
Double
Damn.
right.
Yeah.
Oh
Holy
wow,
shit.
it came out a day before my birthday. That's good. I'm sorry,
Congrats.
Tintin fans. I ruined it, and I'm a Tintin fan.
The next one is Advance Wars comes out.
Wait,
I
we already
get-
had that though.
Well,
Oh, it's
specifically,
just to counter mine?
no,
guess.
I guess specifically yours was it gets pushed because of a new conflict. I guess this is more
Right.
just like, okay, let's just say like, does Advance Wars come out? And we all
Oh,
said yes.
I do think last year we came with predictions because I have that written down. Like
You
you
do?
said, the 3 I have written down. So I think
Oh, okay.
last year we came and we should have done that. I've made a note to make us do that next year. This year we'll have to just do it off the top of the head.
Okay. So the next one is Mario movie. Specifically, does it rank higher than the first Sonic movie on Rotten Tomatoes?
Mm,
And
ooh.
63% was the number
I
it
don't
had
think
to
it
beat.
did. No, I think it was high 50s. Pretty sure.
Mario is at come on
So it needs
It
to
made
be
way more
63.
money.
to beat 63. It's at 59.
Yeah.
Okay, so it did not or does not. Wow, we thought pretty highly of it. So I said yes, and we had to give a prediction of the number. I said 75%. John agreed. Sean said 76% because I guess Price is Right rules or something. And
Probably. Someone.
Nathan said 78%.
Ooh.
We were all optimistic.
I liked it.
I did
but-
too.
oh,
Yeah,
well.
it was fine. It was
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
The Kong
All right.
Army, I mean, crazy.
And the final thing we had that I have written down anyways is Sony retaliates about the merge by purchasing another studio. We all said yes
Which
except
they did.
Nathan, who said no.
What did they buy?
When did they buy Bungie? They bought Bungie. Was that this year?
I thought Bungie was this year. Or was that the last year?
I thought that happened already.
It was Bungie.
That
and it was
was-
another studio.
Bungie was 2022.
Well, who did they buy in
Okay.
23? Because I remember them buying someone in 23.
Seems like something they do, but I can't remember.
when did they-
Firewalk Studios. Oh,
Yeah, I don't know. It's not coming up.
yeah. Firewalk Studios is the last studio they bought, and that was in 2023.
Who is that?
Firewalk Studio?
Firewalk Studios. I don't know because it points to PlayStation Studios when I click on it now.
Oh no. Okay.
I don't. Okay, their website is like introducing Concord, a new PvP multiplayer first-person shooter coming to PS5. I don't know if they've released anything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Sony's already announced they'll be publishing Firewalk's first game back in April 2021.
Okay.
It is the
I don't know
third
if that
dedicated
counts.
live service game
Yeah.
studio that PlayStation has acquired over the last 18 months alongside Bungie and Haven Studios.
Yeah. Like it's not like they
I don't
bought
think this
Rocksteady or
counts.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like they
it's
didn't buy like someone that's released something.
Sure.
It was formed
So
by
I
a
was
number
right.
of Bungie veterans.
Okay.
That's it.
New
That's all I have.
predictions.
Yep. Let's go.
Let's come up with a few of them. What did we already push through? We put the Switch through.
Switches through.
That's it, as far as I have written down.
We had those leaked documents about a like cylinder Xbox Series X.
Right. Yeah.
Is it real? So my prediction is, or I guess the question is, and we can say yes or no to it. Does a cylindrical Xbox come out in 2024?
Come out in 20. Okay. I'll say. Wait, when did Series X come out?
2020.
I'll say yes.
Now, I think when these documents were out, it wasn't like a more powerful one. It wasn't a half-step one. It was like the equivalent of a Slim.
I think
Okay.
they'll do it. It's around the right time to do a slim model.
I think it's around the right time, but I think the real question here is
Is it a
is
cylinder?
it cylindrical design that, or how old was that document? Because I think that document was a little bit old, so they could change it. So the real question is, well, we could do two. We could
I
do
think it
two
should be
predictions.
spherical. That would be better. And there's a little nest it sits in.
And then call it the Game Sphere. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we do two predictions. Does
Okay.
Xbox come out with a slim version of their Series X?
Okay.
And is that slim version? And does Xbox come out with a cylindrical Xbox? So there's your two questions I'm submitting.
I'm gonna
I say
yes to
no, they
both.
don't come out with a slim. You say yes to both. Yeah. Okay. You know, actually, I say yes. Part of me is thinking is like the Series
It's
S
like,
is
no,
the
they
slim
don't
version.
release one, but if they do, it will be cylindrical.
Yes, I'll say yes to both.
Okay, Nathan, what do you want? Yes to both, or you
No,
said yes
I'm
to?
gonna do what I said.
Okay.
I'll say no, there won't be one, but if there is,
It's
it
good.
is a cylinder.
Okay. It's pretty good.
It's got to stand out.
Yeah, yeah. All right, John, I have you as cylindrical. Yes. Do you think they come out with a slim?
Yeah, because I want it to be true, man. I want to
Yeah.
believe. I think it's just dumb enough to be true.
Okay. Okay.
Do you guys have a prediction? I have another one. I can go if you guys are still thinking.
Go.
I actually did write some pretty
Oh.
negative stuff down here.
Okay, let's hear some of them.
Let's do it.
Number one, straight out of the box, Travis and Taylor doesn't survive the off season.
Oh my god, what the fuck, Nathan? This is a video
I
game
know,
podcast.
it's just gonna happen. They're not gonna be able to handle it. I don't know what
What
that
are
has to
we
do with
talking
gaming.
about?
He's talking about Taylor Swift.
Oh,
Sorry, I guess I got to tie it to the Madden cover somehow. There you go. So Travis Kelce will be
Okay,
on the
so-
cover of the next Madden,
yeah, is
Just
Taylor
simply
Swift on
because he's
Madden
dating Taylor
cover?
Swift.
specifically because it boosted his profile.
Okay.
I mean, I think
that's the
by
I'm
like,
gonna
gaming
say
side
no
of
to
it.
that one. I'm gonna say that's.
I was gonna say
we'll
by
make it.
prediction rules, we have to make a prediction about whether or not they survive the off season. Now it's been submitted to the table.
Okay, so
Yeah.
what do you want me to write down? So,
I just don't stop hearing about this everywhere I go. So I brought it in. Sorry. It's the hottest
Okay,
news.
so
of
does
this
Travis
year.
and Taylor survive the off season?
I put don't make it past
When
the
does-
off season. Is that good? Does that feel more
Sure.
specific?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So wait.
I'm gonna say
Okay.
I'm gonna
How
say
the-
they do survive.
Okay.
They're gonna survive. They're gonna die together. It's true love.
Yeah. Okay,
What?
that's awesome.
This is Romeo
I
and
love it.
Juliet bullshit going on here.
She has a song about that.
But longer lived than that.
All
Because
right.
that was like a few days.
I'm gonna
But
put they're going to die together from Sean. Anyone else?
That's a dark prediction. Don't do that. Okay.
Oh no. No, okay, never mind. I forgot Monkey's Paw. We can't
Yeah, I
I
was
know,
gonna- I
yeah.
was gonna say, like, man, the internet's gonna
Dangerous
curse.
power of
The
the
internet's gonna curse
predictions.
Nathan if fucking Taylor Swift dies because of his stupid ass prediction.
Whereas I brought the prediction to the table, so I said doesn't. So I guess my answer is no. And if I need to tie it to the Madden NFL cover, yes, he will be on the cover. But
I think they make
they
it. Through the
want that
off-season.
money.
I think
The
they'll make it through the
synergy.
off season.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll say yes to all as to that. Nathan says no, and Sean says yes, without the dying.
Sorry, yeah, I'm realizing
stipulation.
like almost none of these have to do with games. All right. It's like just predictions for the future.
Jesus,
okay.
Nathan.
Holy shit!
John Paul, do either of you have one?
No, please give us a video game related one.
Okay. I've got a couple that are movie TV related.
Okay.
Sonic the Hedgehog 3, which comes out like December.
Mhm.
Whoa.
Where does it rank in terms of reviews on Rotten Tomatoes against the other two Sonic?
Reviews
Is
are
it the
so
best
hard
one?
to play against.
Is it in the middle or is it the worst one?
What did
Let's
Sonic
quickly look
2
up what the
get?
Sonic movies are
Oh my god.
review wise.
Okay.
So it's confirmed to come out this year. There's no chance it might get bumped. I wouldn't be shocked.
I mean,
if got
it
bumped
might.
a bit.
It might get bumped. Right now, it's set for December, and I think it's been bumped already before.
Wow, Sonic
I know
2
they're
actually did
filming it.
okay.
I know they're working on it. So
Okay.
Okay, Sonic the Hedgehog 2 currently sits at 69%. Nice.
96 audience score, so people.
I mean,
are-
Mario had
And
95
Sonic
audience
1
scores,
is
so.
63%.
so
Where
it's
does
trending
Sonic 3
up.
land?
I think
They're
it's
adding
gonna be
Shadow,
below Sonic
who
1. I think it's gonna be
sucked.
below Sonic 1, so I think it's gonna be like 58.
Okay, so you're saying it's the worst one. I'm going to agree that it's the worst one. I'll say 55.
Okay.
Just for variety's sake, I'll say 71%. Critics really respond to Shadow.
Giving Shadow a gun.
Yeah, they think Shadow's like kind of interesting. They don't know what's going on, so they're just like, "Wow, this is a neat character."
Like, I don't know, he looks kind of like Sonic, but he has a gun.
Yeah, this is some dimension to this thing.
Critics love Shadow.
Thank you.
All the reviewers call
Like it's
out
specifically in the blurb. It's like, despite an interesting new character.
You know, I didn't care much about
Trees.
the blue one, but that black one, holy smokes. Really turned things around.
Yeah, I think it's probably also going to be the worst one, but not by much. I'll say 61%.
Okay. Still fresh.
Sure.
Okay, here's another one. I want us to predict the review score of the Borderlands movie.
Oh no.
Oh, is that even
boy.
actually coming out?
They've been working on it for a long time. Isn't Jack Black Claptrap?
Probably.
You just made that up. Like, that's real.
I'm pretty sure that's true.
All right.
Yeah, with Jack Black as the voice of the wisecracking robot called Claptrap. Kevin Hart is
Boy.
also in there.
Ugh.
I thought he would be
Kevin Hart.
Claptrap, honestly.
Oh, he's
Yeah.
Roland.
Oh, that's right. He is.
rip.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, this is
Wow.
Borderlands 1.
Oh no, Tiny Tina's in here.
Oh crap.
Okay. I don't think critics are gonna like this.
I'm putting this in like the 30s. I'm putting this like the 30s or 40s.
Yeah, first number that came to my mind was 36. I don't know why.
I'll
But
match
that's-
that 36.
36.
Okay. I'm gonna be more
It
pessimistic.
just seems
like
like the
say,
Borderlands.
perfect recipe to annoy critics. Like it's just gonna be a loud, obnoxious movie, and there's
Yeah, but they keep doing that with the games, and they keep selling more and more.
28%. One of the worst movies ever made.
Okay, I'm gonna say people are idiots, and
Oh,
they're
no.
gonna give it a 69.
Nice.
Okay. It'll match Sonic 2. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I just have sports predictions here, which is technically a game, but that's not
True.
That's not what we do.
Yeah, I got one.
Okay.
Okay.
Who tips their hand at next gen first, if at all, this year?
Does Switch count though? Because it's like off season.
Yeah, Switch is
Switch
kind of
shouldn't
weird.
count. Switch is always like an off account, and they've already said that the stats for the.
So do you mean then
Switch 2 will be up.
specifically between Microsoft and Sony?
Microsoft and Sony? Yeah.
There's kind of
Okay,
weird
well, but
rumblings
there's
about-
already like PS5 Pro rumors.
Yeah,
So does that
I wouldn't
nullify
count
it?
the Pro. No, because did we count the Xbox One X? I don't think we did. So
I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't call that a next gen. But I guess if those rumors are true or not, wouldn't that just push off any? They wouldn't talk about a next
that
gen if
would
they're
push
already.
off any next gen talk. Yeah.
Okay, but the prediction could still go. I just don't think either of them mention a next gen console.
What about? Okay, well, I'll put something else out there after. No, I don't think either of them announce a totally next gen console.
I'll
Totally
probably
next
say.
gen. Probably not.
See,
I mean,
I'm
Nintendo, but
worried.
that we said it doesn't matter.
It probably is too early, yeah, but I feel like this is the round like near the end of the year is when they're like, oh yeah, we're starting to work on the PlayStation 6 or whatever.
Okay,
I'll
so you
say
think
no.
PlayStation would go
I'll
first?
say no
Oh.
currently, but my weird feeling is we might get it at the very end of the year.
Well, I'm splitting this into two
Chelsea?
parts. Do Microsoft and Sony announce the next gen, and then who, if yes, I guess.
Okay, but we all said no, so the second one doesn't really matter,
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
Yeah.
I have one, I guess, like based on a recent rumor I've heard. It's Microsoft goes multi-platform and stops being a hardware guy, like at all.
Okay,
Sega
yeah,
style.
so that has
Not
been
this
rumors.
year. Not this year.
The Sea of Thieves coming to the Switch. It's gonna be crazy. No, I
So
don't
the
know.
rumor is Sea of Thieves and Hi-Fi Rush is also rumored.
Okay, I'll definitely go with Sea of Thieves. And
Yeah,
it shows
I was
Hi-Fi
gonna
Rush.
try
think
and
both of
narrow
those
your
things will
prediction.
happen.
I was
Okay.
gonna narrow your prediction, like, because if they do like one game, does that count as them going
Well, they do
multi-platform?
one
'Cause they
game.
already-
Ori came out, so
That's what I'm saying is they've kind of done one game. So like, what is your definition of they have gone multi-platform? Because I
Well-
could see them like saying, we do it on a case by case basis, but you're not going to see Starfield ever on PlayStation.
I'm not even sure about that. But I'll just go with the Sea of Thieves and Hi-Fi Rush come out
Okay.
on multiple platforms this year, and there might even I might even go so far as to say there'll be a statement indicating there won't be a next gen Xbox ever. Like that's gonna.
you think
happen.
this is it for the Xbox
This is
lineage?
the last Xbox console. That's
Yeah,
there.
I don't think.
I'll say that. I don't think we'll know that by the end of next year, but that's what I'm saying.
I'm not sure they would ever actually say that.
Because then you'd stop buying Xboxes.
So, like,
Yeah,
what-
I think so.
what's the question of prediction here? Because the way Microsoft going multi-platform would have to be is they release all exclusivity. No, nothing is
Yeah, so
longer
I think we're
exclusive.
narrowing it just to those two rumored games, right?
Okay.
Sure, I guess so. I'm not
Sea
gonna
of
like
Thieves.
Halo Reach or Halo Infinite comes out. We're not quite there. But
I think both
Yeah.
those games show up on PlayStation. Yeah, or well, no, I should say go multi-platform because I think Hi-Fi Rush was rumored for the Switch.
yeah, that sounds more Nintendo friendly to me.
Yeah, so I will just
But,
say
yeah.
I think both of those show up on different platforms, which is the same thing Nathan said.
I guess so. And I guess I won't extend it because it's too narrow a timeline.
Okay.
But Nathan is pessimistic about the future of Xbox or something. You can say, and I have one, but I don't know.
I'll say no Sea of Thieves, yes Hi-Fi Rush.
Okay. Can I add another one? Or
Well, John,
Okay.
did you answer those two?
Sorry, can you repeat them again?
Do you think Hi-Fi Rush goes and Sea of Thieves go multi-platform?
Hi-Fi Rush, yes. Sea of Thieves. Sea of Thieves doesn't go to the Switch, but it might go to PS4 and 5.
Okay, I'll put
That,
yes.
yeah, that's the rumor. So,
Okay.
so yes as well. Okay, what were you adding?
GTA 6 gets delayed,
Oh, okay.
Ooh, that's a good one.
which I think is funny because it's so far away already. But they're gonna like come out at some point next year and be like, "Hey, yeah, we're
Yeah,
having some
because
trouble."
it's the end of 2024. They have it right
I think it's 2025
2025,
already, actually.
yeah.
So,
already.
Yeah.
do you think they'll announce a date? Actually, is there anything pertaining to that? Like, I wonder if I want to
No,
put it as
I-
like they announce a date and then they announce that they can't hit that date. But
So
I
is
don't
that
know.
two predictions or one giant one? That's very
That's a
specific.
bundled prediction.
That's a bundled one?
Yeah,
Okay, hold on.
if I
So-
could.
I guess mine is I don't think they delay it because I feel like the delay is going to happen next year. So I would make that prediction next one.
Yeah. All right,
okay.
I'm jumping the
Yeah.
gun.
They wouldn't
you
do-
know. too
Yeah.
excited about the trailer. I don't know. Or another trailer happens, and no,
That definitely happens. Absolutely.
I know. I don't think I have anything
Okay,
else really.
all right. Here's a good one. Yeah, we can start wrapping it up. Does Skull and Bones
Okay.
come out this year?
There was a
Yes.
beta.
Yeah,
So,
I
yes.
will.
Yeah. Okay, then let's double it. Do people like it?
Ooh.
No.
Actually, here's a better way. Here's my two. Does Skull and Bones come out this year? Does Skull and Bones shut down this year?
Ooh.
There's my two.
Ooh. The day before style. It's like comes out and they just kill it immediately.
Uh,
I say yes to both.
Yeah, me too. Yep.
It comes out
Like
and
it
they kill
does come
before the
out,
end
but
of the
by
year.
year's end it's gone already.
Yeah.
Because like,
That's
hey,
great.
look at this is Ubisoft. They did that with Hyperscape. That lasted like 3 months.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's also Ubisoft, and they For Honor and stuff is still around.
True. Yep.
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 But they seem to have run into a lot of trouble with this thing, so I don't know.
I think it'll
I-
survive the year.
Okay.
So yes and no for John.
Wait, is there a first part of the question? I'm gonna say no. It doesn't come out, and that's it. You know, it's just it died already.
Yeah,
We
you don't
just
have to
didn't
do
know
the
it.
second
Yeah.
one.
So
Then.
yours would be
Yeah.
no and then non-applicable. Okay.
Like the
Yep.
beta, it's done. It failed.
Okay.
But
Paul, do you want to put a prediction? I think you're the one who hasn't, or are you just good?
No, I don't care.
Okay. I say we call it there unless anyone has like a burning one.
Nope.
Okay.
no.
Because we just hit the 3-hour mark. That's the end of
Okay.
the podcast. Thanks everyone for listening. Nathan, thanks for joining us once again.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I won't be back for a couple weeks because I'm going to Europe. But
I will be
we'll
gone
talk
for a
again
week as
soon.
well. I'll be at MagFest.
Oh yeah, go say hi to John. Nathan, what are you doing? What can people check out of yours?
Oh, okay. Video. We're looking at movies that are good. We're looking at good movies over here. So what do we got next? My Favorite Martian.
Oh, no.
1999.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah,
Definitely
Christopher
owned,
Lloyd
like, that VHS.
classic.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Okay.
check out that podcast pretty soon. Yeah.
And hey, all right, that's the show. As always, remember, don't trust a genie.
Yeah, as we
See you
say
later.
here.
Gin. Okay.
Bye.